All right, what's up, guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, we have got to go over all of the OP11 cards. Now, let me say something real quick, guys. Typically, what I would do when going over a new set is I would do one color every single day and turn into like a 6 or 7 day project where I do the leaders by themselves and then all 6 colors. But we're going to knock out every single leader and each different color pool for all of OP11 in just a single take. Okay, so let's do this, guys. I'm going to try to get through this. Hey, let me turn my fan on. Okay, here we go. Let's lock in. I will have everything time-stamped in the general description. Okay, I'll have everything time-stamped in the general description for you guys to skip around whatever color you want. And I will have any kind of relevant lists or links or anything like that down in the comment section below. You guys know the drill. Okay, now let's do this, guys. We're going to get straight into it because we have I think it's 119 cards to go over from OP11. We're going to break each one down. I'm going to tell you guys what I think about them. And the nice thing about doing it in this way, typically we do this first and then we do testing on the sim. Well, I've already done quite a bit of testing, so I can kind of give you guys a heads up on what I think is going to be some pretty good cards from my experience so far early on in the sim. Okay, so let's do this, guys. Let's get into it. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please do not hesitate. To put those down in the comment section below, or hop on the VV Theory Discord. Link is in the channel description. Today's video is sponsored by Nin Garden. Their latest spring collection just dropped with 3 incredible new designs. And to celebrate, they are running a spring sale where you can buy one playmat and get any classic playmat at 40% off with the code SPRINGSALE. This is the newest addition to the spring collection, the Whole Cake Island playmat, which looks absolutely stunning. Now, when you go to checkout, be sure to use the promo code TheVVTheory with no spaces for 5% off your order, and NIN10, again, no spaces, for an additional 10% off. And these codes do add up, by the way. They are cumulative. I will have the links to the website and promo codes in the comments section and general description for you guys, so be sure to check out Nin Garden. All right, guys, let's get straight into this. Make sure to get some popcorn or grab some food real quick so you can lock in, buckle up, grab your favorite beverage, whatever you need to do. We have got a lot of cards to go over. We're going over all of OP11, red, green, blue, purple, black to yellow, straight in order. We're actually going in numerical order, as you can see at the bottom here. So it's like, Kobe on the front here is OP11001, okay? So we're going from 1 all the way to, I think, 119. But there's more than 119 cards, guys, because there's alt arts like SPs in the back here. And then there's also just alt arts in general for some of the cards in the set. Okay, so like I said, let's lock in, buckle up. Here we go. Let me say one more thing before we get started. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the leaders because I've already done a video showing off all of the new leaders in OP11. I will link those videos down in the comment section below for you to check out at your own leisure. And of course, this is all going to be from the One Piece card game official website. I will link that in the comment section below as well for you to check out at your own leisure, so you can go through each one of these cards and see what you think about them. Okay, now let's do this, guys. Let's get into it. First up, we have Red Black Kobe. This is a Navy sword leader. It has the effect of your sword type characters can attack characters on the turn in which they are played, and once per turn, if your Navy type character with 7,000 base power or less would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, you may place 3 cards from your trash at the bottom of your deck in any order. So right away, guys, this is a really cool leader. It's trying to, I think they may have found a sweet spot in combining the red and black color pool, because red and black is pretty notoriously bad at synergy, where you have cards like, for example, like Garp, right? Leaders like Garp from the past. You have red cards that typically deal with power reduction, and then you have black cards that typically deal with cost reduction. And there is no carryover, right? There's no real synergy in that. Well, here's what they've decided to do. Okay, since black has a strong theme when it comes to like KO prevention and negation and things like that. Well, that's the first part of this leader, right? It's got, if your Navy type character with 7,000 base power or less would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect. you may place 3 cards from your trash at the bottom of your deck in any order. That's also very much a black effect in this game, is using your trash, right, to your advantage. And then the red part here, being able to attack into active characters on the turn in which characters are played. It's almost like, it's like a pseudo version of Rush. In fact, it is Rush against any character that's rested for your sword characters. So that's really good, and that's a really beautiful marriage of the red and black color pools in this game. I'm a big fan of this leader, and I can't wait to see what people come up with for it. Okay, next up, this is the altar. It looks really incredible. Then we have Ein. Ein is a 3-cost, 4,000 power, 1k counter film Neo Navy character. And it has the effect of, on play, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 1,000 power during this turn, then KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 0 power or less. Only giving a minus 1,000 is a little bit rough. I understand people might be thinking like, oh, this is like Brook, right? This is like Red's version of Brook. It's like, no, not even close, right? Because number one, Brook, he goes off of cost, obviously, and he has an on-play and when attacking to do the -1. For those who are not aware, whenever Brook enters play, it gives -1 cost to a character, and then it can pop a zero cost character for the turn. It's a black card, right? This is a red card that does -1,000 power for the turn, and then can KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 0 power or less. But this character only has an on-play, whereas Brook has an on-play and when attacking. But I will say, -1,000 power is still very solid. That could help you battle for the board. It could also get rid of some smaller characters on the board that, are kind of just annoying characters on there that we can just get rid of. So solid card, big fan of this. I wish it was a little bit stronger, but at the same time, I don't think it's terrible. Okay, next up is Usopp. Usopp this is one of the new cards, guys. Understand this stat line right away. There's this new idea with vanilla 2K counters. Vanilla in this game means a character with no base effect. See how there's just a dash here? It has no base effect. And Usopp is a 5-cost, 6,000 power 2K counter character. Typically, you'd see a 5-cost, 7,000 power 1K counter vanilla character. Well, now Bandai has added 2K counter vanillas to the game. That's what this is. There's going to be quite a few of those in this set, so I will refer to them as vanilla 2K counters from here on. Okay, very nice card, solid utility, and it's in the Straw Hat Crew type. The most important thing about these cards will be the typing, so we'll have to pay attention to that. Excuse me, I'm talking about with the vanilla 2K counters. The most important aspect of this card is going to be what their type is. Okay, next up we have Kujaku. Hopefully I said that right. It is a 1-cost, 0 power, 1,000 counter Navy sword type character with on play, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to 1 Navy type card other than Kujaku and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Okay, it's a 1-cost, 1K counter searcher. But wait, there's more. Activate main, you may trash this character and up to one of your characters gains plus 1,000 power during this turn. Now, you can only give the plus 1,000 buff to a character for the turn, but still, this is a very nice additional effect where we can get some added value from our searchers. This is another thing we're starting to see in OP11, is these searchers that have additional value after they hit the field with an activate main like this. So really good stuff here. I'm a big fan of the direction they're going with these, because I will say, I think Red's not the best example. I understand this is a Navy/sword character, and the plus 1,000 goes perfectly with that package, but hear me out. When it comes to Red, I think you typically do want to go pretty aggressive. So having a 1-cost, 2,000 power searcher on the board with a 1K counter, that's really not too bad in the red color pool. However, I think in some of the other color pools, like maybe like yellow or something, I think if we get searchers like this that have really strong effects, it could be really, really good. Can't wait to see what they do more with this in the future, but great card as is. And now we have the alt art. This looks awesome. Really colorful alt art here. Looks beautiful. I love when they do the borderless stuff. They always turn out so good. But I will say this. This standard art, this is an SR, a super rare, right? Super rarity. This here looks incredible. I actually think I like this one a little bit better. I don't know if it's like the way the bangs are. They're almost like they're almost like these entire they're like feathers almost. The way they did the bangs are like feathers, and you got these seagulls in the background. This one's still very good, but I think I like the SR a little bit better. All right, next up we got Smoker. This is a 4-cost, 5K, 1K counter blocker with Dawn ×1. This character cannot be KO'd by effects of characters without the special attribute. So only special characters can KO this. Excuse me. This character cannot be KO'd by effects of characters without the special attribute. That's very interesting. So, excuse me, this character can still be KO'd in battle. So even though you're blocking and they don't have special, you can still KO them in battle. However, character effects cannot KO this character if they are not special. That's very interesting. I am a big fan of that idea there. A 4-cost 5k, 1k counter blocker is pretty solid, but that effect, I wish it was more, it's too bad it's not, this character cannot be KO'd by special characters with special attribute. I actually think that would be more, how do I say this? It would kind of make this character where it could not be KO'd, except unless it was by a leader or a character that's not special. I think that would have been a little more useful, but still a very solid card. Okay, next up we have Zephyr. Zephyr's a 5-cost 6k, 1k counter film Neo-Navy type character with the effect of Dawn ×1 when attacking. Give up to one of your opponent's special attribute characters minus 5,000 power during this turn. Okay, so attach one Dawn, you're swinging in for 7, and you're dropping the power of one of your opponent's special, only special attribute characters by 5,000 during this turn. Okay, you see this, guys. They're trying to incorporate more applications to the attribute. For those who are not aware, this is the attribute in the top right corner. Purple is special, and then yellow is strike. I believe blue is slash, red is ranged, and green is wisdom. There are 5 different attributes in this game currently. I believe there's only 5. Someone help me out in the comment section below if I'm off on that. But I believe there's only 5 in the game. They each have their own color, and up until now, there really hasn't been a whole lot of application for those attributes. There are a few things in the game, like Dracula Mihawk, the 3-cost, 4,000 power, 2k counter green card from ST12. That was a great utility 2k counter that says if you have 2 or less characters on the board, you can play out a 4-cost or lower slash character, or Mugiwara Pirates, or something. I can't remember what it is. Some other kind of some kind of weird pirate name added in there, but it could play out a slash attribute character that costs 4 or less. So it's nice to see them messing around with these attributes a little bit more. It's a start. It's a step in the right direction for sure. This card's very solid. It will definitely help you get the board back against these characters that are special. Anything that's sideways, if you swing 7 into it and minus 5,000, that's a 12,000 power differential, right? You're swinging for 7 and you're giving them minus 5,000. That's a massive differential. Very solid card. Next up is TCG. This is a 1-cost, 1,000 power, 1k counter Navy character. It has the effect of Activate Main. You may rest this character, and then if your leader has the Navy type, give up to one of your Navy type characters plus 2,000 power during this turn. Excuse me, it says up to one of your Navy type characters gains plus 2,000 power during this turn. So it's a 1-cost, and it's a way to rest this down. Okay, Activate Main, rest this character down. If your leader has Navy type, up to one of your Navy type characters gains plus 2,000 power during this turn. It becomes a card you can put on the board. Your opponents have to swing into it now, or you're buffing your characters by plus 2,000 every single turn, all your Navy type characters. It becomes a nuisance, and that's kind of how they build Tashigi, I feel like. We've already seen in the past with the 3-cost, 4,000 power, 2k counter Tashigi from the black color pool that has Activate Main, rest this character, and then minus 2 cost for the turn. This is kind of like a smaller version of that in the red card pool for this character here. Very nice. It's not a 2k counter like the other one is, but hey, it's only a 1-cost character. Slam it down on turn 1, and then you can start buffing your characters after that whenever they come down. So really good stuff here. Next up is Doll. Very similar background here. Check out the background, guys. There's like some kind of riveting going on with this cloud background. You move forward, and there it is again. Very, very cool. It goes. It must be part of the same exact scene or something, because it even has the same artist of Shinra Agency Co. Ltd. Like the exact same company and everything. Even though the rivets look slightly different on this one versus this one, but that's probably because this one's further away and this is more of a close-up. Anyway, random art critique in the middle here. So this is Doll. Now this character is very solid, guys. I have got the chance to play with a lot of these characters after testing out the new decks on the sim for OP11, but this is a 4-cost, 1,000 power, 1k counter blocker, and it has on play, you may trash 1 card from your hand, and if your leader has the Navy type, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 6,000 power during this turn. And that effect is very strong, guys. So this is a 4-cost 1k blocker with a 1k counter. That's already good. And then you're trashing a card from your hand, filling up your trash for your leader's effect to save characters later in the game, and you're giving a character minus 6,000 power during the turn. Very, very powerful effect there. And it's a blocker. And it's a 4-cost card, so I'm just saying there might be some ideas there with bringing this back with Gecko Moria. Giving you guys kind of a little bit of a spoiler, but we have seen that interaction already with early testing with this deck already. So very powerful card. Next up, oh wow, it's got an alt art. I didn't know this one had, excuse me, I didn't know this one was going to have an alt art. I thought typically they reserve alt arts for leaders and then for SRs. But guys, this is just this is just a rare card for the rarity, and this has an incredible looking alt art here. Really like the difference in style between these two, especially with the hair. Looks awesome, really good stuff. Loving this alt art. Okay, next up is Nico Robin. This is a 3-cost, 4,000 power, 1k counter, Straw Hat Crew character. It has the effect of Dawn ×2. When attacking, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. Okay, so that effect lingers. So Dawn ×2, you're going to attack, and you're going to give one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. Not to the end of your turn that you're currently on, until the end of your opponent's next turn. So that effect will linger. Very solid. It's a good character. These when attacking effects are going to be very good in a deck like Sanji maybe, or even any deck that's running the new ST21 Zoro. But in general, for the other decks that are just trying to like maybe fit a card in, I don't think this card's great, but I think it's going to be very good in draft, or excuse me, in sealed, for the limited sealed tournaments on release day, or on the pre-release rather. Okay, next up is Hibari. This is a 5-cost, 6,000 power character. It has the Navy and Sword types. The effect is on play, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power during this turn. And then when attacking, this character gains plus 1,000 power during this turn. Then, up to one of your Navy type leaders can also attack active characters during this turn. So that is the big part of this card. The on-play effect is incredible as well, but it's a 5-cost 6k. It attacks for 7, even though it's a 6k. Whenever you attack, you get plus 1,000, and then up to one of your Navy leaders can attack active characters during this turn. That is very, very solid. And the on-play effect, giving minus 2,000, that's not so bad either. It helps us fight for the board early on. This is an all-around very solid card. Very good stuff here. Okay, and remember too, one more thing while we're sitting here looking at the alt art. This is meant for the Navy Sword deck, the red-black Navy Sword Kobe deck, right? So if your opponent has a character that's sideways, you're going to be able to slam this card down, minus 2,000 power to the character, and then swing in for 7 into it. So guys, that's a 7,000 and plus 2,000. It's like swinging for 9,000 right away. Very, very powerful effect here. But it's even better than swinging for 9,000 in that situation I just said, because that minus 2,000 power is during this entire turn, not just for one attack. So you give minus 2,000 power to a character for the turn, and you start smashing in if they're sideways. Now your leader can attack active. You see how that gets out of hand very quickly. This card is going to be very good in that deck. Okay, next up is Ben's here. This is a 5-cost, 7,000 power vanilla character. Not going to say much about this. Then we have Frankie. We have a 2k counter here, and it's a 4-cost, 4,000 power 2k counter. Straw Hat Crew, of course. Your turn, once per turn, when your opponent activates an event, all of your characters gain plus 2,000 power during this turn. Okay, so this is definitely meant more for, I guess, maybe against Nami or something like that, blue self-mill Nami. But hey, it's a very powerful effect, and on a 2k body, we'll take it. Great utility card here. Okay, next up we have Prince Gruss. This is a 1-cost, 2,000 power 2k counter Navy Sword character that has a when attacking, all of your opponent's characters with 2,000 power or less cannot activate blocker during this turn. This is a great utility card as well. It's just a nice little 2k counter with some utility added in. And hey, if you need to, think about it like this, guys. In the deck that this would be in, a Navy Sword deck, typically speaking, you can play him down for 1 and swing, and then make it where all your opponent's characters with 2,000 power or less cannot activate blocker during this turn. So if you have a way to give power reduction all over the place to whatever blockers might be left, you're going to be able to hit all of your opponent's characters with that. Or any character that has blocker that has 2,000 power or less, they're not going to be able to activate blocker. So this card does have a lot of really, really solid utility. And it's a 2k counter, and it's going to be good in Navy and Sword. Now, I'll say this too. One more thing I want to mention is this is not locked to Navy Sword, this effect. It says when attacking, all of your opponent's characters with 2,000 power or less cannot activate blocker during this turn. Well, guess what? There is no condition there that says if your leader is Navy, do this effect. So you can run this in any red deck going forward. Now, in the Navy Sword package, of course, it has the ability to have rush pretty much, right? It can attack in right away if there's a character that's sideways. So you can get the when attacking effect off immediately, even if it's for just 2,000 and it bounces. who cares? Now all your board can swing through all the 2,000 power or less blockers. So really nice effect here. It's definitely meant more for the Navy and Sword cards, but who knows? It's a 2K counter card, and it's Navy. Maybe Red Black Garp can use something like this in the future, or whatever red deck wants to try to mess around with power reduction. Okay, next up is Borsalino. This is a 3-cost, 3,000 power, 1K counter film Navy blocker. It has Activate Main. You may rest this character, and up to one of your Navy type leader or character cards can also attack active characters during this turn. I'm really loving this card, guys. Now, up to one of your... here's the thing. This is not locked to Navy leaders. It says Activate Main. You may rest this character. Up to one of your Navy type leader or character cards can also attack active characters during this turn. So who knows? Again, this kind of has a little bit of spillover into Garp potentially. Maybe we'll be able to get some value out of this in that deck as well, or just any kind of deck that's running red and black that decides to run the Navy package. You know, we'll have to see what comes out in the future. We know it's meant for Kobe, but it does have applications elsewhere. It is also just a nice 3-cost, 3,000 power, 1K counter blocker. Okay, at the end of the day, it's going to be great for that, and then you can have some potential upside if you're doing very well. Think about it like this, guys. A lot of times what happens is you might drop down a blocker, and it's like, I'm actually winning this game. I don't even need a blocker right now. Well, Borsalino says, okay, well, why don't we go on the offensive, and we'll make it where one of our Navy type leader or characters can attack active, and we can keep getting the control back in that way, and then maybe save cost-based removal for later. Something that's a little more hard removal we can save for later, and keep getting value out of our opponent's hand on the board. I'm a huge fan of this card. Okay, next up we have Mocha. Mocha is a 4-cost, 6,000 power, 1K counter vanilla card. Not going to spend any time on this. Really cool looking art. This is a Punk Hazard vanilla card here. Next up we have Zoro. We have a 5-cost, 6,000 power, 1K counter Straw Hat type character, of course. With an Activate Main, once per turn, give up to 1 Rested Dawn card to your leader or one of your characters. Okay, big fan of this one as well. This is more along the lines of what I'd like to see with these Rested Dawn moving cards. So we've seen like the 1-cost ones, like 1-cost Koala, I think was a promo. 1-cost Nami, that one was a 1-cost Activate Main. Attach a Rested Dawn to a leader or a character, and this is a bigger version of that, and I think I might like that even more. Like in this case, for example, this is a 5-cost 6K 1K counter that has the Activate Main, give up to 1 Rested Dawn card to your leader or one of your characters, so it's going to be a little bit harder for your opponent to deal with. It all depends on the board state, of course, and the matchup and things like that, but not only is this thing giving a free Dawn per turn, a Rested Dawn to a character or leader, but it's also just a huge body. And the first thing that I think of, believe it or not, hey, I'm sure you guys are going to have a hard time believing this one for people who follow the channel. The thing that the thing that pops in my head immediately is, oh, Red Yellow Sabo might be able to use this pretty nicely, because this is a 5-cost 6K, so I can attach 1 Dawn to this and swing for 7, and then I can recycle a Dawn later to get to my leader or to give to this guy, whoever I needed to give it to. And then swing in for 7, and then have the extra Dawn to push this to life. It actually has some pretty cool applications there with Red Yellow Sabo. All the other cards I have not really focused on for Red Yellow Sabo. I'm not going to lie, but this one was the first one that just jumped out at me. Really nice. Could be very nice in a Straw Hat version, which I had been tampering with. It might be very nice in a Straw Hat version of Red Yellow Sabo. Okay, next up we have X-Drake. This is a new 6-cost 7K 2K counter vanilla. This one is a Navy, Sword, and Drake Pirates type. Awesome, great utility card. This is actually just a great card to run in Sword as well, because remember, the Sword cards in Kobe, they can attack into characters the turn in which they're played. So it has value in that way, and it's a 2K counter to fill up the trash for later. And there's another card we're going to look at a little bit later with Helmeppo. This card has a lot of synergy with that list. Great card. Okay, now we're on to the events. So first up is Honesty Impact. This is a 6-cost Navy Sword type event. With the effective main, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 4,000 power during this turn, okay? Then KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 6,000 power or less. And then the triggers KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 6,000 power or less, just like Jet Pistol, right? This card is excellent. It has a lot of ways to take back the board. If your opponent has a very wide board, you're going to be able to go, okay, minus 4,000 to that guy. Okay, now pop that guy, and then we can go about things from there. It ends up being a 2-for-1 in that situation, because now we can swing into the guy that got their power reduced. It has a lot of it has a lot of versatility. This is a great card. I can foresee a future where this card going into Rayleigh in a red deck, you might want to go, okay, 6 Dawn. pop 2 different characters with this. Maybe not pop 2 different characters, but get rid of one and reduce the power of the other and attack into it with your leader. And then on the next turn, Rayleigh, minus 3,000 here, minus 2,000 there, pop there. It becomes a very strong curve for removal within red. Very, very nice card here. I can't wait to get my hands on this one. Next up is Honesty. Oh, okay. Now, Honesty Impact has a alt art for the event. This looks really nice, guys. Check this out. This is a 6 cost, this is the 6 cost event we just looked at, Honesty Impact, and this is like a manga panel for that. This looks incredible. Really good stuff here. I do like that they're doing this now. I think the first one they did this with was Divine Departure, I believe, the 1 cost from OP10. And I really like that they're doing these little manga panels for some of the events as well. Very cool stuff. Next up is Glorp Web. This is a 2 cost event. Navy Sword type as well. The effect is counter up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 2,000 power during this battle. Then, if your opponent has a character with 6,000 power or more, up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 1,000 power during this turn. So if your opponent does have a 6,000 power or more character on the board, you're basically going to be able to go, okay, plus 1,000 power for the turn on a character or leader, and then I can also do plus 2,000 power on top of that for one of my characters or leaders for that battle. So very nice utility here, and this one has the trigger effect of up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 1,000 power during this turn. So that's a pretty standard red trigger, plus 1,000 for the turn. Good stuff here. Not a huge fan of it, but this is definitely a good card. Next up is Excalibur. This is a 2 cost event, Navy, Sword, and Drake Pirates type event. It has the effect main, give up to 2 of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power during this turn. Then up to one of your Navy type characters gains plus 1,000 power during this turn. Trigger, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 4,000 power or less. So the trigger is a little bit lackluster. I think it hits a little too low in my opinion, but 4,000 can hit some decent targets still. But the activate main here the main effect is give up to 2 of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power during this turn, and then we get plus 1,000 on one of our Navy characters. That's pretty good. That's a 5,000 power swing for 2 Dawn's worth. We'll take that. That part's very nice because it gives 2 of your opponent's characters, up to 2 of your opponent's characters, minus 2,000 power during the turn. So really good stuff here. Big fan. Okay, next up we have Jinbei. Jinbei going into the green cards now. This is a 5,000 power, 5 life mono green leader with the end of your turn effect of if you have 6 or less cards in your hand, set up to one of your fish or merfolk type characters and up to one of your Dawn cards as active. It is a Fishman and Straw Hat crew type leader. This leader was pleasantly surprising. I thought it was going to be much worse than it was, and I didn't mean that in a mean way. It's just when I first saw that end of your turn effect, I thought, well, that's not very strong. At least in my mind, that didn't seem very strong. But in application and seeing some of the cards that came out in OP11 to go with it, like the new 1 cost events we're going to look at towards the end of green here, all of a sudden, this looked very, very good. All of a sudden, this effect was like, okay, wait, that's pretty good. At the end of my turn, if I have 6 or less cards in hand, I can set up to one of my Fishman or Merfolk type characters and up to one of my Dawn as active. All right, we'll take the extra value when we can get it. Seems good. Okay, so let's go ahead and hop into this one. There's the altar. This looks great. And then then there's one other leader to talk about real quick. We have Shirahoshi. Green-yellow Shirahoshi. This is a 5,000 power, 5 life, dual color leader. Merfolk Fishman Island type, but it cannot attack. This leader cannot attack. And then activate main once per turn. You may rest one of your Dawn cards and turn 1 card from the top of your life cards face up. And then you're going to be able to play up to 1 Neptunian type character card or Megalo with a cost equal to or less than the number of Dawn cards on your field from your hand. Okay, it says Neptunian on here. It said something different on the sim, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But this effect was also very good. Let's go to the alt art while we're waiting, or while I'm finishing this point up. This leader ended up being very powerful on the sim. Okay, I was surprised about this one as well. That happens pretty often, I will say. I look at an effect and I think, with this leader, I'm not going to lie. I read this very top line here, this leader cannot attack, and I immediately just like flipped the switch off on my mind and said, you know what, not a huge fan of leaders that cannot attack, but hey, we're still going to give it a try for content on the channel and just to see if it's actually any good or not. And this leader was not too bad because it got some very good support in OP11. Okay, so next up here we got Arlong. This is a 7 cost, 7,000 power, 1k counter, Fishman Island, and Sun Pirates type character. The effect is if your leader has the Fishman type, and you have 3. Hang on, if your leader has the Fishman type, you have 3 or less life cards, and your opponent has 5 or more rested cards. give this card in your hand -3 cost. So the idea is you have to have 3 or less life. Your opponent has to have 5 or more rested cards. Cards can mean Dawn, characters, and leaders, and stages, okay? And then, what else? And your opponent has 5 or more rested cards. Yep, you can get this card in your hand -3 cost. The trigger can rest up to one of your opponent's cost 4 or lower characters. That part's not bad, but the main idea here is you're going to be able to play out a 7,000 power character for 4. I've had mixed feelings on this card. I have actually showed this off previously on a channel, or on a previous video. We talked about this, and I think during a live stream we talked about it. I'm not a huge fan of this card because I mean it's basically. Don't get me wrong. The idea is you're going to be able to play this in green, yellow, Arlong and cheat it out, and then later in the game you might be able to just play this out for as a 4-cost 7K hard casting it in a deck that might run like maybe I don't know, maybe Hody Jones or something, Jinbei. It depends on what kind of leader, what kind of deck you're going for, but it does have to be a Fishman type leader. You can play this out as a 4-cost 7K, and I feel like that's just not quite enough value for what it is. Not that that's bad. But a 4-cost 7K is just a little bit better than a 5-cost 7K vanilla that's already in the game that has no further things that we need. Now, yes, a 5-cost 7K vanilla doesn't have a trigger, and it doesn't have the ability to go down in cost potentially with a conditional effect like this. But it's all about consistency for me, guys, and having a card that is this conditional, my opponent has to have 5 or more rested cards, and I have to have 3 or less life cards. So, yes, for green-yellow Arlong, the green-yellow Arlong leader, this is probably perfect for that if you're just trying to cheat out a 4-cost 7K. But here's a big problem with the way that I play that deck and for what this character does. I prefer building that deck as a very heavy trigger body deck. And if I get attacked and the card is not a trigger body, not resting a 4 or less, no, a trigger body, then I feel like my chances of winning actually go down ever so slightly across the board. So that's just me. We'll have to do some testing with it. I haven't fully given up on this card, but I know a lot of people were really hyped about this card. But guys, when I see a 7-cost 7K with a 1K counter and the trigger doesn't cheat it into play in a deck that would want a lot of trigger bodies, I'm not really in love with this character. But we'll give it a chance. We will give it a chance later. Okay, next up, we got the alt art for it. This looks absolutely incredible. Really solid alt art. Love the purples and like the purples and the pinks back here, and this very toned down green. It's a very dim. It's a little bit. It looks great. This looks really nice. Okay, next up we have Aladdin. This is a 4-cost 5,000 power 1K counter. I like this composition. We're looking down on him here, but man, he is. Let me get up my camera. He is shredded. Got his shoulders back. Bowed out chest, arms crossed, got the huge Popeye forearms, looks great. This is a Merfolk Fishman Island Sun Pirates type character. It has the effect of when this character is KO'd by your opponent's effect, you may trash 1 card from your hand and rest 1 of your Dawn cards. If you do, play up to 1 Fishman or Merfolk type character card with a cost of 6 or less from your hand. So again, when this character is KO'd by your opponent's effect, you may trash 1 card from your hand and rest 1 of your Dawn cards, and if you do, you can play up to 1 Fishman or Merfolk type character card with a cost of 6 or less from your hand. So the idea is you're going to be able to save this card from KO effects, not from battle, from KO effects, and not really save the card, I guess, but save your tempo, save your momentum by trashing a card from hand, resting a Dawn, and playing out a 6-cost or lower Merfolk Fishman character from your hand. Not bad. I'm not a huge fan of that. I think it is... Hey, for the sake of tempo, it's going to be very good, but I feel like this also will not come up too often because I don't think... How do I say this, guys? I'm not going to KO this card if I know he's going to get another card from it by an effect, right? If I have an effect that can KO some of their characters on the board, I'm not going to KO this card because then they're just going to get a potentially bigger character from their hand. So we're not doing that. I don't think the effect will come up very often. But other than that, it is a nice 4-cost 5K, 1K counter that has a little bit of, it almost has evasion in that way, right? It's almost like it cannot be KO'd because if they do KO it, you're going to get a potentially bigger card from it. So not too bad. Next up is Ishali. This is a 2-cost 0-power 1K counter Merfolk Fishman Island type character. It has the effect on your opponent's turn once per turn. You may rest 1 of your Dawn cards in this character, and then up to 1 of your leader or character cards gains plus 1,000 power during this turn, or excuse me, during this battle. And this is on your opponent's attack once per turn. Rest 1 of your Dawn and this character. So you play it out for 2, then your opponent attacks in, you rest this character and a Dawn, and then you can go plus 1,000 for a battle on your leader or character. This is a great utility card. Very nice. Okay, next up is Scaled Neptunian. This is okay. So it was saying Sea Kings on the sim, I believe, for Neptunian. So that's good to know. So this Scaled Neptunian here, it's a 6-cost, 8,000 power, 1K counter vanilla. But this is one of the cards you can cheat out with your Shirahoshi. This is the big boy you can cheat out with Shirahoshi. Really good stuff here. Okay, next up is Bulge-Eyed Neptunian. Okay, this is a 4-cost, 6,000 power, no counter Neptunian type character. It has the effect, if your leader is Shirahoshi, this character can attack characters on the turn in which it is played. So this is going to help you battle for the board, considering your leader cannot attack. This is a solid card for what's going on with that leader. Next up is Lord of the Coast. This is one of my favorite new cards, I think, for green. It is a 4-cost, 5,000 power, 1K counter, Neptunian East Blue type character. The effect is on play, up to one of your opponent's rested characters will not become active in your opponent's next refresh phase. The trigger can KO up to one of your opponent's rested characters with a cost of 3 or less, but that on play effect, allowing you to keep a character rested, is very strong, and there's no cost restriction on that. You can hit any cost character that's sideways, and they will not become active during their opponent's next refresh phase. Very, very nice here. It's a 4-cost, 5K, 1K counter body as well. The art looks incredible. Huge fan of this one. Loving this. Okay, next up we have Charlotte Praline. This is a 3-cost, 4,000 power, 1K counter blocker with Merfolk, Fishman Island, and Sun Pirates type. The effect is blocker, and on play, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 1 or less. The on-play effect is not great, that's for sure. It's not that it's bad or anything, it's just not great. But we'll be able to rest down some annoying little 1-cost searchers so they don't get value later in the game. And then we have a 3-cost 4K blocker on the board. It's a 1K counter as well. It's just a solid card. This is just a great utility piece here. Next up is Shirahoshi. Shirahoshi is a 1-cost, 0-power, 1K counter with Merfolk and Fishman Island type. It has Activate Main. You may rest one of your Dawn cards and this character, and you're going to be able to look at 5 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to 1 Neptunian or Fishman Island type card and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So this is just your 1-cost searcher for Merfolk, Fishman Island, or really for Neptunian and Fishman Island type characters. Really good, or type cards, excuse me. So just a great searcher here. This is like the Jory Bonnie of Merfolk. Very nice. Next up is Jinbei. Okay, we got a really strong new card here, guys. Lock in for this one. Really pay close attention. We've got a 6-cost, 8,000 power character here. Fishman, Fishman Island, and Sun Pirates type. The effect is on play, if your leader has the Fishman or Merfolk type, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less, and then activate main. So on play, if your leader's Fishman or Merfolk type, it's Fishman or Merfolk, so you're going to be able to play this in something like Shirahoshi or Jinbei, or potentially Arlong as well, right? And then you're going to be able to play this character out and rest down a 5 or less. That's very nice, guys. That's a very nice effect for us. And then activate main once per turn. Up to one of our Fishman or Merfolk type characters can attack characters on the turn which they are played. So you can use it on himself as well. He can activate this effect and use it on himself to attack in. And then in future turns, he can activate that effect as well. That's not a activate main once per game type of effect, or if this is the turn in which the character was played, like what we've seen in the past with like Tashigi or Kaido, stuff like that. This activate main is just a activate main once per turn. Up to one of your Fishman or Merfolks can attack characters on the turn in which they're played, which is really nice. Big fan of this card. I'm sure they'll have an alt art for this one, of course. Looks great. Love all the composition here with all these swirling waves around this kick that he's doing. Looks really good. Okay, next up we have Tsurume. This is a 5-cost, 6,000 power, 2K counter. It is an Animal and Fishman Island type card. Unfortunately, they couldn't get one that was a 5-cost, 6K. What's it called? The Neptunian thing we're going for with Shirahoshi. It's too bad they couldn't get one that had all these types and Neptunian. But hey, that probably has something to do with the lore. Okay, but this is just a 5-cost 6K 2K counter vanilla, guys. Same thing with Bird Neptunian. See, now this one does have Neptunian, so it's a 6-cost 7K 2K counter that we can cheat out with Shirahoshi. Very solid typing for this card. Next up is Hatchan. We have a 4-cost 5,000 power 1K counter Fishman, Fishman Island, former Arlong Pirates type character here. former Arlong Pirates type character, very nice. And the effect is activate main. You may rest this character, and if your leader has the Fishman or Merfolk type, up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less cannot be rested until the end of your opponent's next turn. So I think it's interesting they decided to add former Arlong Pirates as a type. So maybe we'll see that in the future. You have to always wonder about that, guys. Is the fact that anytime they add a type, that means in the future there might be something with that. So we'll have to see what happens with the former Arlong Pirates type there. That to me was very interesting because I don't think I've ever read that type before. Does the other Hatch Hands have that? I'm starting to wonder now. Oh, well, I'll check later. Whatever the case is, like I said, I don't remember ever seeing the former Arlong Pirates as a type. Who knows? Maybe that's a direction they'll go in the future. But the effect, activate main, resting this character, and if your leader has Fishman or Merfolk type, up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less cannot be rested until the end of your opponent's next turn. This is just like the 3-cost 4K Arlong that locks down on play. Okay, so really good stuff here. Big fan of these kind of effects in green. I think the lockdown and tap down effects for green is the way to go in the future. I know they've had that for quite some time. You guys know what I mean. So now next up we have Fisher Tiger. This is a 6-cost, 7,000 power, 1K counter, Fishman, Fishman Island, and Sun Pirates type character. The effect is when this character is KO'd by your opponent's effect, you may rest one of your Dawn cards, and if you do, play up to one Fishman or Merfolk type character card with a cost of 4 or less from your hand. Okay, and then on play, you can rest up to one of your opponent's characters, period. No cost restriction. That on-play effect is incredible. The other effect is not bad. I'm going to read it one more time. When this character is KO'd by your opponent's effect, so whether they KO it, well, it can't be in battle, but by an effect, you may rest one of your Dawn, and if you do, play up to one Fishman or Merfolk type character card with a cost of 4 or less from your hand. So I actually already like this Fisher Tiger card better than the other one we just saw. The, where was it? Okay, it was a ways back. Sorry, guys. This Aladdin card. Aladdin, I don't know how they say it. This one can play out a bigger character, right? However, you have to trash a card from your hand, right? Actually, did I read this? Yes. So when this character is KO'd by your opponent's effect, you may trash one card from your hand and rest a Dawn card to play out a 6-cost or lower Fishman or Merfolk type. Whereas the card we just looked at, let me go back to that now. This Fisher Tiger just says, when this character is KO'd by your opponent's effect, you may rest one of your Dawn cards. You don't have to trash a card as well with it. So even though you're playing out a smaller character potentially, if you do play up to one Fishman or Merfolk type character card with a cost of 4 or less from your hand, even though it's a smaller character, I just don't want to go down too far in hand size. That can get very dangerous. But at the same time, with our Jinbei leader, we are trying to go down in hand size. So who knows? Maybe the other card's a little bit better for what the deck's trying to do within Jinbei. We'll have to do testing in the future. But that on-play effect. On play, rest up to one of your opponent's characters. That card in conjunction with something like a Vanderdecken, you're popping anything you need to, guys. You're popping anything. Very, very powerful effect there. And it's a 6-cost 7K body with a 1K counter. Very nice. Okay, next up we have Spotted Neptunian. This is a 4-cost, 5,000 power, 1K counter, Neptunian type character. It has the effect of on play if your leader is Shirahoshi. So we have a Shirahoshi only type of support card here. Look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to one Neptunian type card or Shirahoshi, and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Very nice card here. It's a 4-cost 5K, 1K counter, Searcher. We'll take it every time. This is a very nice card here. Very solid. Next up, we have the events for green. We have Ancient Weapon Poseidon. This is a 1-cost event with a Fishman Island type. The effect is main. Look at 4 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to one Neptunian or Fishman Island type character card and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Trigger draws the card. Very strong effect here, but it can only search up Neptunian or Fishman Island type character cards. So in the future, we won't be able to search up any kind of events this way that are Neptunian or Fishman Island type, which is unfortunate. But at the same time, it is a 1-cost searcher, draw card effect for the event. It's not bad at all. Okay, next up is Gum Gum Elephant Gatling. This is a 1-cost event for Fishman Island, Supernova, and Straw Hat Crew. So there's quite a few very relevant types on this card, but check this out, guys. This is one of those new 1-cost 3K counter leader events that also has a main effect as well. So it has so the counter that I was just talking about is up to one of your leaders gains plus 3,000 power during this battle. Plus 3,000 on a leader specifically, not a character, guys. Don't forget that. I've seen a lot of people mess that up. It happens. We're trying to learn the new cards. These new 1-cost 3K counters are leader only, and then the main effect is what does something random per whatever color it's in. But the counter does plus 3,000 to a leader for the battle. And then the main for this card is, all right, main, rest one of your Dawn cards. So that means pay one to use this event, and then pay one more to activate the main's effect, and then you're going to be able to rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. So you're basically, this card is pay one as a counter to do a 3k counter to your leader, or on your main, you can rest down one of their 5 cost or lower characters. This card is outstanding. The only thing that these new utility 1 cost 3k counters are missing are triggers, unfortunately. But hey, they got to balance the card somehow, right? Very good. Okay, next up is Vagabond Drill. This is a 1-cost event for Fishman, Fishman Island, and Sun Pirates type. The effect is counter up to one of your Fishman or Merfolk type leader or character cards, gains plus 3,000 power during this battle. Then rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. Okay, so this is another 3k counter. So we just saw Gum Gum Elephant Gatling. Okay, and this is a Fishman Island searchable card. So this one is Fishman and Fishman Island searchable cards, and there is a difference there, guys. There actually is a real difference there. But this can rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less, and the trigger can rest at one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. So, guys, there are turns where your opponent might attack into you, and they're sitting on like a 2-cost or 3-cost or lower blocker, and you might be able to just tap that thing down and get out of the attack, and now you might be able to swing lethal on the crackback. This is a very strong tempo card, even though it's meant to be more defensive, and the trigger can rest down to 4 or less. This is a great card. It's searchable for Fishman and Fishman Island. Very nice event. Okay, next up is, now we're going into the blue cards, okay? Got to take a quick water break, or coffee break, rather. 1 second, guys. Got to take a sip of my coffee. All right, here we go, guys. Going into the blue cards, we got Monkey D. Luffy. This is a 6,000 power leader with 3 life, and it's Straw Hat Crew, of course. And the effect is this effect. Pause and read this if you're more of a visual learner, but let me read this effect for everybody. This one is outstanding. This effect can be activated at the start of your turn, so that means before your draw phase, before your dawn phase, before your refresh phase, before your draw phase, before your dawn phase. This happens at the start of your turn. If you have 8 or more dawn cards on your field, so understand that means before your dawn phase. So in other words, if you're on 6 dawn and you're about to go to 8, sorry, it's not going to help you. You have to be on 8 dawn before your dawn phase of that turn. It's at the very start of your turn, not before, not after then. Where was I? Okay, if you have 8 or more dawn cards on your field, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Straw Hat Crew type card, and add it to your hand. So you're drawing a card from this effect. That's not your card draw for the turn. Okay, then you're going to place the rest at the top or bottom of your deck in any order. So you don't even have to bottom deck the rest of the cards. You're going to set the remaining 4 cards. After you draw 1 Straw Hat card, you do have to reveal that, of course. You have to reveal, okay, I drew a Straw Hat card. That goes to your hand. You haven't gotten to your draw phase yet. It's still the start of your turn. We have not done the refresh phase, draw phase, or dawn phase yet. So you're going to set the remaining 4 cards on the top of your deck, and you're going to draw the card you want to for your turn, and then set up the rest from there for something like a 9-cost Sanji. This card has been insane, guys. It's been a lot of people have been talking about this leader. It does seem a little overtuned, but who knows what might happen in the future, guys. We might be able to find a leader that just hard counters it. We'll have to see what happens, but let me say right now, this is a very powerful leader effect. Okay. Next up, we have the actual alt art for it. Looks incredible. Looks really good. Okay, next up is Nami. Nami is a 5,000 power 4-life blue-yellow leader. Straw Hat Crew type, of course. The effect is on your turn once per turn. This effect can be activated when a card is removed from your opponent's life cards. Okay, so once per turn, this effect can be activated when a card is removed from your or your opponent's life cards. So, oh, excuse me. And then if you have several less cards in your hand, draw a card. So in other words, if you take a life or if they lose a life, you are going to draw a card if you have 7 or less cards in hand. This effect is very strong. You're drawing through cards faster in your deck. You're setting things up. You're using utility to help you out. It's just a very powerful effect, and that's not it, guys. The next one is probably even more powerful, depending on who you're talking to. Dawn times 1 on your opponent's attack once per turn. So when your opponent goes to attack in, you may trash one card from your hand, and then this leader will gain plus 2,000 power during this entire turn. Not for one battle, for the remainder of the turn. Very powerful effect here on Nami. A lot of people are really liking this leader. I had mixed results with it at first, but I do have a lot more ideas I want to try to mess around with when I go about building my own deck for it and making it my own. But very cool art. First of all, I'm a big fan of this art here. With with this, it almost has like a Harley Quinn style vibe for me. I don't know what it is. It's just very playful, very whimsical. But it looks really cool. Now, the alt art for it looks very good as well, but I'm actually a bigger fan of this card, even though I think I've seen some people say it doesn't look as much like Nami as this one does. Maybe that's true or not, but whatever the case is, big fan of the art on both of these, and the actual leader itself is probably going to be very powerful. Because I still don't think we have all the best lists for any of these new leaders yet for OP11. These just came out in the East and for us in the West on the Sim. We don't have the physical copies, but in the West on the Sim. Next up is Vito. So 3 costs, 4,000 power, 1k counter, Fire Tank Pirates type character. The effect is on play, you may trash one Fire Tank Pirates type card from your hand. This character gains Rush during this turn. So on play, trash a Fire Tank Pirates type card from your hand. This character gains Rush during this turn. In blue, that's very good, I think, to be able to have a character that has Rush like this. And seeing Fire Tank Pirates, okay, it looks like they're going to be focusing on a new type here very soon. We'll have to see what happens in the future, but that has a lot of potential. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if in the future they come out with a blue-yellow Fire Tank Pirates beige leader, so it'll have access to all of the really strong, the yellow beige card and stuff like that. We'll have to see what happens, and then blue cards like this. So very cool being able to get Rush on a blue character. Most people will not see that coming, but you are going to have to trash a Fire Tank Pirates type card from your hand on play to gain Rush for the turn. Okay, next up is Vinsmoke Akiji. I'm a huge fan of this card, guys. I did, at the time of recording this, I did just finish up some Reiju gameplay, and I have to say I cannot wait to show that off. This new character is outstanding. Listen to what it does. It's a 7-cost, 7,000 power Vinsmoke family Germa 66 type character. It's a blue one, though, right? This isn't purple. This is blue. The effect is blocker on your opponent's attack once per turn. This effect can be activated when you only have characters with a type including Germa. Up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 1,000 power during this battle, and then trash 2 cards from the top of your deck. So you're filling up your trash with other answers for later, and you're getting a plus 1,000 power boost for the turn. For the battle, not for the turn, for the battle. And it's a 7k blocker. We can cheat this out with the 4-cost Akiji and Blurple Reiju. Loving this card. Really big fan of this. And the art looks incredible as well. Next up is Vinsmoke Judge. This is a 6-cost, 8,000 power character with no counter. It is Vinsmoke family Germa 66 type, of course. The effect is activate main once per turn. You may trash 1 card from your hand, and then all of your Germa 66 type characters gain plus 1,000 power during this turn. So I thought I would like this card more, but I have to say I feel like they haven't really figured out the liege type. I think they're called liege cards in Magic the Gathering. They're cards that buff your entire board, and I feel like they haven't quite figured that out in One Piece yet. Maybe it's because of how the Dawn system works, but I'm actually not a huge fan of this card. It's a good card. It's not a bad card, but for my playstyle, especially within Germa 66, I need the 8-cost Judge. I need the 8-cost 8k Judge that floods my board. All my other cards are doing very highly, useful. There's a lot of high utility on the rest of what the deck does. I don't think I need to buff anything by 1,000. Now, yes, it will help into matchups, for example, like the 6,000 power leaders, or leaders that get to 6 or 7,000 power a turn, or even 9,000 power in the case of Black Yellow Luffy. But I don't know if I can find space in the deck to even have a card like this in there. Space, just wait, guys. There are other cards as well for the Germa 66, type that are going to go in Blurple Reiju perfectly, and it's going to make it really hard to fit a card like this in the deck. So that's one thing we have to consider with this card. Tell me what y'all think about this one in the comment section below. Okay, next up is Niji. This is a 5-cost, 6,000 power, 2k counter vanilla. Vinsmoke family, Germa 66 type. Good stuff there. Well done by the designers, by the developers there. Next up is Yanji. This is a 4-cost, 5,000 power, 1k counter blocker. Check this out, guys. I know a lot of people weren't a big fan of the 4-cost, potentially 6k blocker from Green, the Green Yanji. But look at this, Vinsmoke Family Germa 66 type. This is a blocker as well for blue, and listen to what it does. If you only have characters with a type including Germa on your field, right? This character cannot be KO'd or rested by your opponent's effects. So he can't be rested down. The 4-cost 6K, okay, they just rest it and go past it, right? Or they just KO it. This character can't be KO'd or rested if you have nothing but Germa characters. So really good stuff here. A big improvement, in my opinion, on the purple 4-cost 6K Yanji. Okay, next up is Reiju. This card is outstanding. Listen to what this does. This is a 4-cost 5,000 power 2K counter Vinsmoke Family Germa 66 card. The on play is if your leader has the Vinsmoke Family type, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 card with the type including Germa and add it to your hand, then trash the rest. Not put the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. No, you're going to trash the other 4 cards, filling up your trash, just having an incredible effect there. And again, guys, on play, if your leader has Vinsmoke Family type, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck and then reveal up to 1 card with the Germa type and add it to your, or excuse me, with a type including Germa and add it to your hand, and put the other 4 on in the trash, not on the bottom of your deck. You can get those cards back later. Very, very powerful effect here. On a 2K counter body. So good. Oh, man, and look at that. Oh, man, look at this alt art. They always do such an incredible job with Reiju in this game. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like a crowd favorite within the actual anime or manga, but I feel like the artists just do such an incredible job with these Reiju pictures every single time. Loving this. Loving the colors on this. Okay, next up we have Capone Gang the Beige. This is a 1-cost, 2,000 power, 1K counter, Supernova, Fire Tanks Pirate Searcher. The effect is on play. Look at 4 cards from the top of your deck. Reveal up to 1 Fire Tank Pirates or 1 Straw Hat Crew type card and add with a cost of 2 or more, and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order, so that way you can't search up certain events and things like that. But hey, other than that, you're searching up whatever Fire Tank or Straw Hat Crew card you need in the top 4 that costs 2 or more. Not bad, just a solid searcher. Next up is Carrot. Carrot is a 1-cost, 1,000 power, 1K counter Minx type character. The effect is look at 3 cards from the top of your deck and place them at the top or bottom of your deck in any order. And then on your opponent's attack, it has a second effect here. On your opponent's attack, you may trash this character, and then up to 1 of your leaders gains plus 1,000 power during this battle. So I've had people ask me about this, like why not just run Perona, because it searches 2 cards deeper and does the same effect otherwise. Well, this card having the extra on your opponent's attack effect, I think, is what does it. It's going to come down to what do you think is better? Being able to recycle a card on the board like this to get an additional... So, in other words, this card works as a 3-cost version of Perona, the 1-cost top 5 searcher. It works as a top 3 searcher like Perona, but afterwards, you still get to use it as a 1K counter with the on your opponent's attack effect. So again, it's going to come down to what you think is better. I think it's going to be preference at the end of the day. If you like searching deeper in the deck with something like Perona for a top 5 search, run that. Or if you'd rather have a little bit more defensive utility, then run this card. It's going to come down to what you prefer. Next up is Gotti. This is a Gotti. I think I said that right. It's a 3-cost, 4,000 power 2K counter. And this picture is awesome. This is not like the standard style we've been looking at for some of these other pictures here. Yeah, look at this, guys. Really love the style here. Looks great. Love the colors as well. But this is a 3-cost, 4,000 power 2K counter Fire Tank Pirates character. It has the effect when attacking, you may trash 1 Fire Tank Pirates type card from your hand and return up to 1 character with a cost of 1 or less to the owner's hand or place at the bottom of their deck. I think that is actually very good for bouncing back your own stuff to your hand. Or potentially some of your opponent's stuff if they have like some really annoying card on the board that you can't deal with. But at the same time, or bounce to the bottom of their deck, because you can choose, return up to 1 character with a cost of 1 or less to the owner's hand, or place it at the bottom of their deck. So you'll get to choose either bounce a searcher back to your hand, or one of your opponent's characters to the bottom of their deck, right? Or you can bounce them back to their hand if you want to. It depends on what you want to do. But whatever the case is, this is a very solid when attacking effect on a 2K counter body. Just a great utility card. Really nice. Okay, next up we have Sanji. 6-cost, 7,000 power, Vinsmoke Family, and Straw Hat Crew. I'm surprised they didn't, because if I'm not mistaken, there's a Pudding in Sanji card. Oh, never mind. I was going to say, there was a 5-cost, 7K Pudding in Sanji card that came out in EB02. It reminds me from this. It has the same style of picture with Pudding in the background and whatnot. Anyway, we won't go down that path right now. So this is a Vinsmoke Family Straw Hat Crew type card. The effect is when this character is KO'd by your opponent's effect, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck and play up to 1 Straw Hat Crew type character card with the cost of 5 or less, then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So we have some more KO prevention, some more KO protection here. When this character's KO'd, you're going to do a top 5 search for a Straw Hat Crew type character, and then with the cost of 5 or less, and you're going to be able to play it out on the field, and then put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. And then it has an on-play effect to return up to one of your return up to 1 character with 5,000 base power or less to the owner's hand. So again, I love when they keep it open with these on-play bounce effects. I can either bounce my opponent's character or my own. Now, it does go off base power, so you can't really combo this with anything from like blue and purple or red and purple to do any kind of power reduction. Because I think purple has... I think they have a power reduction card. I can't remember. I think it's called like Hydra or something like that. It's something that looks like very much like Magellan or Impel Down type. And I think it has power reduction. But whatever the case is, you can't reduce something's power and then use the on-play effects to do it. It goes off 5,000 base power or less to the owner's hand. Okay? But very good effect here. It has KO prevention. It's bouncing cards out of the way or bringing cards back to your hand. Great utility piece here. Very solid. It's also a 7,000... Oh, nice. Here's the alt art for it. It's also a 7,000 power character, which makes me want to kind of mess around with this idea within Green-Blue Zanji. We'll have to see what goes on there. Really nice alt art here. I like the blues. The blues and the pinks go really well together here. All right, next up is Charlotte Lola. This is just a 5-cost 7K, 1K counter. This is a Fire Tank Pirates and former Rolling Pirates type. Okay, very cool. And this is just a 5-cost 7K vanilla. Next up is Tony Chopper, 5-cost 6,000 power 2K counter vanilla, and this is an Animal and Straw Hat Crew type card. Very nice typing there with the Straw Hat Crew stuff. Okay, next up is Nami. This is probably one of the best new cards in blue. I'm not saying it's the best. We're about to look at we'll look at a card later that I think might be, it might be an 8-cost card, but we'll see. But this new 5-cost 6K Nami, it's a 1K counter blocker that does a on play. If your leader is multicolored, draw 3 and place 2 cards from your hand at the top or bottom of your deck in any order. Guys, this card's incredible. This card is absolutely incredible. It's a 5-cost 6K blocker with a 1K counter that draws 3 cards and then places 2 on the top or bottom in any order that you want to, if your leader's multicolored. This is just one of those cards that I think is, I mean, some people might consider this the best blue card in the set, because a lot of people might not be trying to play the new Luffy card we're going to look at later, but I think some people might consider this like one of the best, if not the best blue cards in the set. It is that good, guys. Very, very powerful. I'll be surprised if there's no alt art for it. Oh, wow. Okay, this is my first time seeing the alt art. Like I was saying, a very, very powerful effect, and they gave it a very, very powerful alt art. This looks incredible. Awesome. Okay, next up is Bartolomeo. This is a 6-cost, 7,000 power 2K counter vanilla for Dressrosa and Supernova types in the blue card pool. Very good. Then we have Brooke, a 3-cost, 4,000 power 1K counter blocker. Okay, very good stats. That's a pretty good setup already. And it has on play, place up to 1 character with a base cost of 1 at the bottom of the owner's deck. It's too bad they didn't let you bounce that to hand or back to the owner's deck, because then we could bounce our own searchers and things like that. But hey, it's not terrible. This is definitely a very good card into Nami, going into blue self-mill Nami. This is a very solid blocker that's going to allow you to play out this card on curve going first or second, it doesn't matter, right on your second turn, and bottom deck one of their Kayas or bottom deck one of their new Searcher Namis. This is a solid card, and it's a blocker with 4,000 power. We can swing into it, swing with it later if we have to as well. Really nice. Okay, next up is Pedro, 1-cost, 1,000 power, 1K counter Minx type character. They're printing some blue Minx stuff. I wonder if we see some blue Minx in the future, guys. Maybe a green-blue leader. That'd be interesting. But we have an effect here of if you have 4 or less cards in your hand, this character gains blocker. We'll take it every single time. And then and that's it. That's the entire effect for it. So it's a 1-cost, 1,000 power, 1K counter. And if you have 4 or less cards in hand, this character gains blocker. So not too bad. That condition's pretty rough for a blocker effect, because I would typically want to use this blocker early on to prevent as much information that my opponent can know as possible. But at the same time, it is a 1-cost blocker with a 1K counter potentially, so it does have some value there for sure. But like I was saying, guys, hopefully that wasn't too clumsy. Just to kind of repeat what I was trying to say, if it didn't make sense. I would like to save my blockers for the bigger attacks, so maybe that is the idea, is we'll counter out early, and then we'll use this blocker to save from us from the big attack coming in. But with these smaller blockers, it's probably not going to stick on the board. Let's just be honest. A lot of the anti-blocker hate in this game, or whatever you want to call it, the stuff that gets around the little blockers, it can almost always deal with a 1 cost or lower character or a 1,000 power or lower character. So I would rather cash in on this value up front before I use a bunch of cards from my hand, and then then they bounce out of the way and I can't get any value from it. But hey, it's still a 1K counter, so we'll see what happens. Okay, next up is Monkey D. Luffy. This is a 5 cost 7K, 1K counter with Straw Hat Crew type. The effect is if you have 5 or more cards in your hand, this character cannot attack, and it is a blocker. Guys, this is a 5 cost 7K, 1K counter blocker. I'm not sure how that passed the test there. I mean, I guess it can't attack, so there's the condition. Is like, oh, it's balanced. Because this is a 5 cost 7K, 1K counter vanilla with blocker added on. Sometimes with this power creep, guys, I mean, that's what I consider this card power creep, even though it cannot attack. Because if you need to attack with, you can always just counter out aggressively, right? That's all you have to do, because it doesn't have rush. So, okay, 5 cost 7K, play out my character, and oh, okay, you're going to try to just, you know, say they can't deal with the card. Okay, well, let them swing in with whatever and just aggressively counter out, and now you're swinging in with this incredible character. So really good stuff here. I'm a big fan of this card. Of course, I'm always thinking of decks like Green Blue Zanji as well. Definitely thinking about trying this very soon in there. 5 cost 7K blocker with a 1K counter. Seems good to me. Seems really good to me. Okay, now for the blue events, we got Gum Gum King Cobra. This is a 1 cost event, Straw Hat Crew. The effect is counter up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 2,000 power during this battle. Then, if you have 4 or less cards in your hand, that card gains an additional plus 2,000 power during this battle. Trigger, return up to 1 character with the cost of 2 or less to the owner's hand. So you're bouncing a 2 or less on the trigger to the owner's hand, and this is a potential 1 cost 4K. That's pretty good, guys. It's pretty good. Next up is Let's Crash This Wedding. 1 cost event here, Straw Hat Crew. The effect is main. If your leader is multicolored, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to 1 Straw Hat Crew type card other than Let's Crash This Wedding and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Trigger, activate this card's main effect. So, just solid. Just a solid card here. And it's a 1 cost top 5 searcher for Straw Hat Crew if your leader is multicolored, and you can't search up. You can search up anything in Straw Hat Crew other than this effect. And trigger, activate the card's main effect. Seems good. Okay, next up is Gum Gum Jet Culverin. This is a 3 cost Straw Hat Crew type card. The effect is main. Place up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a base cost of 4 or less at the bottom of the owner's deck. That's pretty good, actually. We'll talk about that more in a second. The trigger is place up to 1 character with the cost of 1 or less at the bottom of the owner's deck. That main effect can help you deal with really annoying characters like, I don't know, maybe Burgess. It might be able to deal with cards like that. Any kind of 4 cost card, even like not many people run as much anymore, but the 4 cost 6K, blocker Borsellino, the Black Navy Borsellino from way back in OP02. Cards that are annoying like that only cost 4 or less, you're going to be able to get rid of those very easily. And notice this, guys, it says place up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a base cost of 4 or less at the bottom of the owner's deck. So even against a deck like ST14 Luffy that can buff the cost of your characters, or Purple Black Luffy, or whatever else. Okay, anything that buffs your character, this gets around that. This is a 3 cost that bottom decks a base cost 4 or less character, to the bottom of the deck. So really good stuff there. Okay, next up, all right, now moving into the purple cards. Okay, so we're halfway done now. Now we're going into the purple cards, then black, then yellow. Charlotte Katakuri is a 5,000 power, 5 life leader, Big Mom Pirates type. The effect he has is when attacking or on your opponent's attack, but only once per turn, Dawn -1, look at 1 card from the top of your opponent's deck, and then this leader gains plus 1,000 power during this battle. Guys, this is a deceptively good effect. I have to say, you're getting information by looking at the top of your opponent's deck. Returning a Dawn card is not even always a downside for purple, or even for anyone. Later in the game, it's just free. When you're at 10 Dawn, going down 1 Dawn, you're going back to 10 on the next turn anyway. But there are also cards within purple that can actually benefit from this kind of effect. Cards like the 3 cost 4K Pudding, or the 5 cost 6K Eustace Kid. So the effect is deceptively good, and you're going plus 1,000 power. Not bad. We'll take it. Very, very solid. Okay, the alt-art, looking great. Looking really cool. I like this angle a lot better. When he has the, I like that he has the that little scarf thing away, because, it's supposed to hide his face a little bit. But I do like it on better. I think it looks more intimidating with it on for some reason. Who knows? Maybe some people think the teeth look more intimidating. But yeah, this looks incredible. Really good stuff. Next up, Little Sadie. We got a 2-cost, 2,000 power, 2k counter, impel down character here with on play, Dawn -1. If your leader has the impel down type, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. So again, on play, Dawn -1. If your leader has impel down type, you can rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. It's a nice 2-cost, 2k counter impel down character that we can get some utility from later in the game. It's not bad. It's also not great. I think this could work. And I think Blurple Hannibal, does he? I think he can return a 2-cost character. So this would be another 2k counter character he can return back to ramp a Dawn, I believe. Doesn't Hannibal do that? Hannibal, however they say it. We'll have to see. But either way, it's a 2k counter and it has utility. We'll take it every time. Okay, next up we have a 6-cost, 8,000 power, 1k counter vanilla for impel down. Not much to talk about here. Very interesting art style here. Very interesting card, I will say, or character here. Okay, next up is Charlotte Anana. This is a 1-cost. This one actually looks very similar in style, but I was going to say, I don't think I've ever seen this character before, guys. I don't think I've ever seen this one here. But it looks really cool. Very good stuff here. 6-cost, 8k vanilla. We'll take it every time. And then we have Charlotte Anana. 1-cost, 1,000 power, 1k counter. If you have a purple Big Mom Pirates type character other than Charlotte Anana, this character gains blocker. Well, guys, I'll tell you what. This is probably the most consistent 1-cost, 1,000 power, 1k counter blocker we can get. Where you'll probably always have another character that's Big Mom Pirates on the board other than Charlotte Anana. So this card will more often than not always have blocker. Because I feel like a lot of the cards out there that are, you know, how do I say this? The conditional 1-cost, 1k counter blockers. Some are very conditional, like what we saw with Pedro. I'm not going to go that far back, but the Blue Minx card, you had to have 4 or less cards in hand. Like, yes, you could technically just counter out super aggressively and get to that immediately, but I feel like this one, there's almost not a condition on this card. In the kind of deck you'd be running this in, you're more than likely going to be going 8-cost Katakuri, which we haven't gotten to yet. We'll talk about that in a minute. 8-cost Katakuri, 9-cost Linland, 10-cost Linland, whatever. Right, so very, very solid blocker here. Very, very high utility card. Next up is Charlotte Oven. This is a 4-cost, 5,000 power, 1k counter. The effect here is activate main. It's a Big Mom Pirates character, of course. The effect is activate main. You may rest this character and then choose a cost and reveal 1 card from the top of your opponent's deck. Now, remember, we're going to know what it is from attacking with our leader, right? And then if the revealed card has the chosen cost, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a base cost of 3 or less. Then add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. So that's actually very solid. We're going to be able to... So think of it like this. You know, typically you're not going to want to use your leader's effect very early on because you're going to go down in Dawn. You're going to slow down too much and your opponent's going to go too far ahead of you too quickly. But with a card like this, watch what we can do. On a 4, say we're going second, they played out a 3. So say we're going second, your opponent goes first, okay, pass. We go second, we pass. Now on their turn 2, they're probably going to play out a 3-cost or lower character, right? Unless they had some kind of crazy ramp no one knows about yet, right? So they're going to play out their 3-cost character. We play this card out on tempo for 4. Then we attack with our leader using the Dawn -1 effect to go back down to 3 Dawn and looking at the top card of their deck and swinging for 6. Well, now we can activate main, and we can talk about the revealed card's cost with this character to pop their 3 or less on the board and ramp a Dawn back. So it ends up being a very strong play here for tempo, going second for purple Katakuri. Very good stuff here. Next up is Katakuri. Okay, we got Charlotte Katakuri here, 8-cost, 8,000 power, Big Mom Pirates type. Blocker is the effect is blocker, and at the end of your turn, set up to 2 of your Big Mom Pirates type characters with a cost of 3 or more as active. Then add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. So guys, this card is just incredible. It's just very I've said that word a few too many times in this review, I know. But guys, hear me out. This is a very solid card. It does so many things. It's an 8-cost 8k blocker that is Big Mom Pirates searchable in a deck that would run that, and you know, searchers for that, which we're going to look at one in a minute. And guys, it can attack and then stand itself up at the end of turn and one of your other characters that cost 3 or less, or that cost 3 or more, and add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it if you're going backwards in Dawn. So again, guys, the end of your turn effect, this character being an 8-cost, 8,000 power blocker is almost good enough by itself. But then at the end of your turn, setting up to 2 of your Big Mom Pirates type characters with a cost of 3 or more is active. It doesn't say other than Katakuri. So you can attack in with, attack in with Katakuri and then stand him up at the end of turn. Really, really powerful. Great character. Okay, next up we have an alt art for it. Very nice. looking completely jacked out of his mind here. Dude's looking totally beast mode. And Katakuri is, right? Katakuri is. Okay, next up is Charlotte Daifuku. This is a 6-cost, 7,000 power, 2K counter. It is a Big Mom Pirates type card with no base effect. So it's a 6-cost, 7K, 2K counter, vanilla for Big Mom Pirates. Very nice. Okay, next up is Charlotte Brule. Big fan of the art on this card, guys. Don't sleep on this art. This is good art right here. This is a 3-cost, 4K, 1K counter, Big Mom Pirates type. On play, you may add 1 card from the top of your life cards. I always wish those effects were top or bottom. I wish they would always incorporate that, because we are losing a life from this effect. At least let us choose the top or bottom life card, but that's okay. On play, you may add 1 card from the top of your life cards to your hand, and then if your leader has the Big Mom Pirates type, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. So it is a way to ramp Dawn. It draws a card from your life. It's a 4K body. It's a 1K counter. This card is excellent. Big fan of this one. Next up is Charlotte Pudding. Okay, so like I said, we had a searcher coming up. This is it. This is the one, guys, for Big Mom Pirates. So we have another searcher. 1 cost, 0 power, 1K counter. On play, do a top 5 search and reveal. Let me just read it verbatim. Look at 5 cards from the top of your deck. Reveal up to 1 Big Mom Pirates type card with a cost of 2 or more and add it to your hand. Cost of 2 or more and add it to your hand, so it can't search up puddings. You know, well, excuse me. It can search up any kind of pudding that costs 2 or more, but not like the 1 cost yellow or purple pudding. Okay, so where was I? Reveal up to 1 Big Mom Pirates type card with a cost of 2 or more and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order and activate main Dawn -1. You may rest this character and look at 1 card from the top of your opponent's deck. So this card is actually it's really good in Katakuri, but that activate main effect I don't think is quite as good. I'd rather just always use my leader's effect and not keep going back Dawn -1, Dawn -1, Dawn -1 to try and get an effect off. But hear me out. This card right here is extremely good in terms of, like, okay, you're doing your searching when you play it, so it's already getting its value right away. But then in something like purple yellow pudding, if it comes down to, you know, if we're like going super late into a game where we're in top deck mode, which can happen in Charlotte Pudding, you know, it all depends on the matchup. This can actually tell us information that we really want to know, like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and see what their next card is, so I know what they're going to draw next turn, and I can make my play according to that. Very good stuff here, and it's a searcher, guys. It's a 1-cost searcher for Big Mom Pirates, so Purple Yellow Pudding is going to run this, and Purple Kata 100% of the time. Very good stuff here. Okay, and of course it's going to have an alt art. Not as big a fan of this alt art, I will say. This just looks really good to me, and I love the background on this one. Whereas this background, it's the same idea with these, you know, these like little star crosses everywhere, kind of just, you know, showing like glitter or light. It's the same idea here, but I will say this: the blue doesn't do it for me in this one as much as the pink and yellow does in this one, or like the purplish pinks and yellows and things like that, and the whites. Really good stuff though. They both look really good. Don't misunderstand me. It's just I think I prefer this one a little more. It might be the style as well. Like when you look at the eyes on each one of these. Oh, and the little cup of tea. Got the cup of tea in the hand there. I think that's what that is. Incredible. Okay, good stuff. Let's keep going. Charlotte Parasparrow. We got a new Parasparrow in town, guys. We got a new sheriff in town here. 5 cost, 7,000 power, Big Mom Pirates type. The effect is activate main once per turn. You may trash 1 card from your hand and choose a cost and reveal 1 card from the top of your opponent's deck. So remember, guys, we're going to know what that card is from our leader attacking. Okay? If the revealed card has the chosen cost, draw 1 card and add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. So guys, we're going to be able to attack him with our leader. So let's just say on a 5 Dawn turn. On a 5 Dawn turn, we're going to play this character out first as a 7K body, swing in, return a Dawn card. We're going to look at the top card of our opponent's deck, and now we're going to make sure to remember the cost, guys. Make sure you remember the cost. And then you're going to swing in for 6 with your leader. Then we're going to use the Parasparrow's effect to trash a card from our hand with this effect, and then name the number. We're going to draw a card and get an active Dawn. So we go right back to 5 Dawn. The Dawn is now active. We can use that for some type of event or counter or searcher or whatever. And we got to swing for 6 for the turn, and we got to cycle our hand. This is a very strong card. Make sure you get used to running this if you plan on running Katakuri in the future. Okay, next up is Charlotte Montdior. This is a 3 cost, 4,000 power, 2K counter Big Mom Pirates character. 2K counter, so it's already worth considering. It has activate main once per turn, Dawn -1. You may rest this character, and your opponent places 2 cards from their trash at the bottom of their deck in any order. Then add 1 card from the top of your life cards to your hand. So this is actually going to be very good against a deck like Nami, right? Against Nami, you're going to be able to use this very, very aggressively, and you'll be able to start putting cards from their trash to the bottom of their deck. So very good utility 2K counter. Big fan of this one. Next up is Charlotte Linlin. 10 cost, 12,000 power, 4 Emperors, Big Mom Pirates type. The effect is if your leader has the Big Mom Pirates type, this character gains Rush. And then on your opponent's attack, once per turn, Dawn -5. That's right. On your opponent's attack, once per turn, Dawn -5. Okay? Choose a cost and reveal one card from the top of your opponent's deck. If the revealed card has the chosen cost, up to one of your leaders gains plus 2,000 power during the turn. It's for the entire turn. This is a very good effect here. Excuse me. I will say this. Other than the on your opponent's attack effect there, a 10 cost 12k with Rush is always going to be in the realm of like playable for any deck that can pull that off, I think. But at the same time, let me say this. I have a Purple Yellow Pudding video coming out, and I couldn't make room for this card in the deck. Not because the card's bad. The card's not bad. Like in Purple Katakuri, okay, it's a no-brainer. But I will say in Purple Yellow Pudding, I think I'd rather just have the 10 cost 12k yellow OG 10 cost Linlin. But at the same time, this effect is still very powerful. I'm not saying it's not, and who knows, maybe people will find a list in the future that runs both of them. Hey, whatever works for you, make it work. Otherwise, good card. Okay, and now we have a wild alt art here. Check this one out, guys. That's something else. That's something else there. I'm not even going to comment on that. Just know that this is a really, really cool alt art. But Big Mom's looking. She was hungry. You know, she's hungry in this one. She's just trying to eat in peace. We need to stop staring at her. She's just trying to eat in peace. Next up is Strusen. This is a 3 cost, 3,000 power, 2k counter, Big Mom Pirates type character. And the effect is activate main once per turn, Dawn -1. You may rest this character. Choose a cost and reveal one card from the top of your opponent's deck, so we can pull that off easily with our leader effect. If the revealed card has the chosen cost, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. Okay, so 3 cost, 3,000 power, 2k counter. Play it out for 3. We can rest down to 4 or less as long as we remember what was on top of their deck with our leader's effect. Very nice. Next up, we have Jaguar D. Saul. So this is a 6 cost, 6,000 power, no counter, Giant O'Hara former Navy type character. And the effect is on play if your leader is Nico Robin and you have 7 or more Dawn cards on your field, draw 2 cards. Okay, if your leader is Nico Robin and you have 7 or more Dawn cards on your field, draw 2 cards. So if you're on an odd curve, or if you know, it all depends because the way the leader works. Oh, by the way, guys, trigger, activate this card's on play effect. So don't play the card, but just activate the trigger, or excuse me, activate the on play effect. Excuse me. I will say this. With Nico Robin, if you could play this guy on your 6 Dawn turn or your 7 Dawn turn, trying to play it out on curve, it's actually completely fine. Because if you're playing it on your 6 Dawn turn, you can actually swing first with your leader and ramp a Dawn, and then play him out, so you'll have a 6 cost, character that draws you 2 cards. But if you're on your 7 Dawn turn, then of course you can just play it out like normal. So it is a good card. I'm not a huge fan of this card because it doesn't have a counter. With it being a 6 cost 6k, yes, it does have a trigger, which we need for Nico Robin, obviously. But at the same time, its types aren't exactly insane either. I'm not a huge fan of the types. In fact, I'm trying to think. Well, no, we could search this up with Dureshi, I think it's called. We can search it up with Dureshi, and that'll be fine there, I guess. So the types aren't super relevant, but I will say this. The fact that it does not have a counter hurts my heart a little bit. It hurts my soul. I don't know if we're going to be able to pull this one off. We'll see what happens, though. Guys, we got to get back one more time. How absurd is this picture? Oh, my goodness. It's rude to stare. It's rude to stare. I know. She's just trying to eat. I'm just saying. The actual picture itself is really well done. The composition, notice like the spiraling going on right here, looks really good. But other than that, the actual subject matter, disturbing. Big Mom is eating some food here with faces on them. Who knows what's going on? All right, okay. All right, here we go. Next up, we got Hannibal. Is it Hannibal and just spelled Hannibal, or is it actually Hannibal? The way it looks is weird, but I want to say Hannibal in my mind. Like Hannibal Lecter, Silence of the Lambs, Red Dragon. I know I'm old. Okay, hopefully people know what I'm talking about. Anyway, is it Hannibal? We'll have to see. 5 cost, 5,000 power, 1k counter, blocker, impel down. On play, if your leader has the impel down type, play up to one Impel Down type character card with a cost of 3 or less from your hand. This will probably be able to do a little chain reaction where you can go Hannibal into the new Magellan. I think there's a new Magellan that came out in EB02. I don't think it's in OP11, but I think it came out in EB02. So it's like a 5-cost 5K with blocker into a 3-cost 4K Magellan into something a little bit smaller than that, I think. So that could be very powerful. We'll have to see what happens there. Very interesting picture. Crazy looking face on this guy, but it looks really cool at the same time. Next up, we got Rudolph. We got a 1-cost, 2,000 power, 1K counter bunny rabbit here. How crazy is this picture? This looks awesome. It is a Homies Big Mom Pirates type card. Okay, I would not have thought that just looking at it. I'm not going to lie. I was thinking this was going to be Minx or something, but hey, this is a Homies Big Mom Pirates type card. Really nice art on it. I love the little lightning bolts, the lightning strikes, or whatever that is, the electricity going around him. And then the effect is, on your turn, once per turn, when a Dawn card on your field is returned to your Dawn deck, up to one of your Big Mom Pirates type characters gains +2 costs until the end of your opponent's next turn. So, let me try that one more time. Your turn once per turn. Your turn once per turn, when a Dawn card on your field is returned to your Dawn deck. Okay, so when a Dawn card is returned, up to one of your Big Mom Pirates type characters gains +2 cost until the end of your opponent's next turn. So this is going to help better deal with cost-based removal. I don't know if this is going to be something you could just run it in the deck, though. I don't know. I guess with the Pero Sparrow card we saw earlier, maybe you can just trash cards very effectively and have a toolbox, style of deck or something. But I will say this: I'm not a huge fan of what this card is doing, even as a 1-cost. I just feel like it's a little, it's almost a little bit gimmicky. Like I don't really have time to mess around with this idea. But we'll have to see what happens. Not a huge fan of this one. Next up is 5-cost, 6,000 power, 2K counter, deckuplets. I think this one's called 10 Siblings on the Sim, and maybe that's what that stands for. Deck being 10, uplets being like, born at the same time or something. I don't know the proper Latin translation, but it's called 10 Siblings, I believe, on the Sim. So maybe it's deck stands for 10 and uplets meaning they're all brothers and sisters. Really cool stuff, though. Really awesome picture. I love the way this picture is. It is a Big Mom Pirates type character, 2K counter, searchable, 5-cost, 6K, 2K counter, searchable, vanilla. Okay, now for the events. For purple, we got when 2 men are fighting, the last thing I need is some half-hearted assistance. I like this translation a lot better than the one I saw on I think it was on the Sim or on somewhere else. Again, let me say that again. When 2 men are fighting, the last thing I need is some half-hearted assistance. So that picture is intense. Katakuri is screaming, and I believe it's Flampe here. And I don't want to say anything else about what's going on because I do know this scene. I don't want to spoil anything. But we got a 1-cost event, Big Mom Pirates type, trigger, draw 1 card. The effect is counter, choose a cost and reveal 1 card from the top of your opponent's deck. If the revealed card has the chosen cost, up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 5,000 power during this battle. That is a massive counter out if you need to with Katakuri if you have 1 Dawn active. Think about that for a second, guys. So say they're coming in for 11. Wait, no. Say they're coming in for... Wait, no. 11, right? 11. Yeah, okay. Hang on. No, say they're coming in for 10. Say they're attacking in for 10. If they attack into your 5,000 power leader for 10, you can do Dawn -1 to go plus 1,000 for this battle, and now we know the top card of their deck, right? Okay, so we go up to 6,000. Then we use this. We're still countering. We're not done with our, in fact, that was just, I believe that's a when opponent attacks effect, excuse me. This is now in the counter phase. We can pay 1 and say what the card is on top. Say the cost of it. Reveal 1 card from the top of your opponent's deck. If the revealed card has the chosen cost, up to one of your leaders or characters gains plus 5,000 power during this battle. So we can go plus 6,000 to go from 5,000 straight to 11K and get out of a 10K attack with 1 Dawn active and no cards in hand, just this 1 card in hand. So that is very powerful. A lot of potential there, and the trigger draws a card. Very good stuff there. Okay, next up is Gear 2. This might be one of the absolute best events I've ever seen for purple. This is probably the best utility 1-cost 3K event they've printed so far. Divine Departure's good. The Gum Gum Giant Elephant Gatling or whatever it was called, that one was good too. But Gear 2, listen to this, guys. It is a 1-cost Straw Hat event. the counters up to one of your leaders gains plus 3,000 power during this battle, but the main effect rests 2 more Dawn, so it'll be 3 Dawn altogether, 1 to play out the event, and then 2 more to activate it fully. If your leader, excuse me guys, if your leader's colors include blue, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. Now, it's sad that they did make it where your leader, it didn't just say, how do I say this? If your leader's multicolored do the effect, they made it where it can only be used in blurple decks. It's still very powerful, okay, but being able to ramp for 3, and then later in the game it's a 1 cost 3k counter, that is perfect utility on an event card. I hope we see more stuff like this, more super useful cards like this. The green elephant Gatling or whatever was a good one as well, and so is this. They're probably my 2 favorite ones. I like Divine Departure, but a 6 cost event on for the main is a little rough to deal with. That's a little bit harder to stomach, if you will. Okay, next up we have Gear 2 in this manga style, this new alt art version they're doing for the events. Looks incredible. Loving this. Such an iconic pose there as well. Notice this is it like in full color, and then this next one, the next one here is it, you know, in the more, I don't know what you'd call that, just more of a, I guess black and white, like no color. Yeah, but there is some color. See, that's the weird part. They added color to what is probably supposed to be no color. But hey, looks incredible. Loving this. Looks great. Okay. Next up, we have Cognac Mama Mash. That's right, Cognac Mama Mash. It is a 6 cost purple event, the 4 Emperors Big Mom Pirates type. The effect is main. Choose a cost and reveal 1 card from the top of your opponent's deck. If the revealed card has the chosen cost, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a base cost of 8 or less. 6 Dawn to pop an 8 or less. I think I mentioned this before. Oh, the trigger is add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. So you do ramp a Dawn active, which is nice. But paying 6 to pop an 8 conditionally, you have to know that. So you can't even run this unless you're running some type of way to look at the top card of your opponent's deck, or if you know they set a card there or something. I'm not a huge fan of this. I'm going to say that right now. Not a big fan of these super costly events, because it costs you your whole turn, and then you're hopefully going to remove an 8 cost, right? You know, or hopefully there's like something that you can get for 8 on their board that really gets value. Yes, this will be very good into something like Blurple, Blurple Luffy, but again, I'm not a huge fan because they have a lot of 9 cost cards as well in there to worry about, and we're only hitting an 8 cost with this card. So, I do not like the super costly events, guys, unless it's going to be something insane. But hey, it is what it is. Not too bad otherwise. Okay, next up we have, okay, now going into the black cards. All right, let me take another sip of my coffee so we can get through the rest of this, guys. We got to power through the last 2 colors, and wrap this up. Give me a second for a coffee break. Okay. Throat was drying out, guys. Y'all bear with me. Aramaki. So now we're on to the black cards. Now, there was no black leader to go over within the black cards because the only one we had was Kobe, but he was red and black, so he ended up being all the way at the beginning with the red cards. So with that in mind, first up we have Aramaki. This is a 1 cost, 2,000 power, 2k counter Navy character. The effect is activate main. You may trash this character, and if your leader has the Navy type, up to one of your Navy type characters can also attack active characters during this turn. And then trash 2 cards from the top of your deck. That part is actually way better than you might think, the trashing cards, because hear me out, with the new Kobe leader effect, you're able to save your characters once per turn from removal by putting 3 cards from your trash at the bottom of your deck. And you're also going to see within the black card pool here, there are other effects as well, like when we get to it with the 8 cost Kobe and the 6 cost Helmeppo, that interacts with your trash as well. Okay, so, alright, so this is a great utility counter. And, yeah, it's just a solid 2k counter that's searchable by Navy, and it fills up your trash. We'll take it every time. Next up, we have Caribou. This is a 1 cost, excuse me, this is a 1 cost, 2,000 power, 2k counter blocker, Caribou Pirates. Listen to this on play. On play, trash 2 cards from your hand. So what a lot of people are doing right now is they're running this card in Blackbeard. Because, oh, Blackbeard, I don't have any on play effects. Now, this is also good against Blackbeard for later in the game if they turn off your on-play effects. But at the same time, I don't think we should be trying to focus on that. Otherwise, it is still a great 2K counter. Just one of those solid utility 2K counters. Okay, next up is Kuzan. Incredible picture. Now, I do remember that this one has an alt art. We got to sit on this alt art for a minute. Now, don't get me wrong. This looks amazing. This is a very nice looking composition. We're looking up at Kuzan. Kuzan has the furrowed brow, right? He looks frustrated. He's deep in contemplating, deep in thought, frustrated. In fact, it's almost like he almost looks annoyed here, and I love that. It's almost like the snow is starting to wrap up around him, almost like he's getting very frustrated. His anger's welling up in him, but with him being an ice, ice being his specialty, it's all starting to come out from him, almost like he can't quite control it because of what's going on here. Or who knows, he's about to use it to save himself and his friends or whatever. Okay, very nice art here, and I'm not trying to diminish how incredible this one is, but I have to say, the action, this is a more static pose, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with static poses. This was done intentionally. It was done deliberately. But I'm a huge fan of the more dynamic, active poses where stuff is going on. You know, he's launching into his opponent here, right? This is awesome. Now, let's read what the actual card does. This is a 4-cost, 5,000 power Navy-type character. The effect, he has 2 different effects, just like his original 4-cost 5K, but this one has a 1K counter. But the effects aren't quite the same. The effect is on play, trash 3 cards from the top of your deck, and that is a static, generic effect, guys. That is not bad. I have to say, just filling up 3 cards in your trash with the way that black functions now, that's going to be good, period. But the when attacking effect only works if your leader is Navy. When attacking, up to one of your Navy-type leader or characters, well, actually, I guess it can apply to characters as well, up to one of your Navy-type leader or character cards can also attack active characters during this turn. That's a very interesting card, guys. That's a very interesting effect. Big fan of this. Absolutely love the picture. This teal, like the seafoamed and teal, that it's like a blue-green mixture, is one of my favorite colors, and it looks so good for his his little eye shades there. And everything about this card is interesting to me, and I can't wait to mess around with this more in the future. Tell me what you guys think about this, and I want to know in the comment section below which card do you guys think has the best new alt art, or just normal art in all of OP11. We haven't got to the SPs yet, or the secrets, so be patient on that. Next up, we have Kurozumi Orochi. This is a 3-cost, 4,000 power, 1K counter, Land of Wano Kurozumi clan. That Orochi reminds me of Orochimaru, and he has like snakes as part of his whole character design. I wonder if these little dragon snakes back here, or whatever these are, has something to do with Orochi. I wonder if there's some type of common bond there. Anyway, this is a Land of Wano Kurozumi clan character, and the effect is on play, add up to 1 smile type card with a cost of 5 or less from your trash to your hand. Not bad, definitely not bad. If they ever print any good smile type cards, some really, really good smile cards. Again, it's a 3-cost 4K, 1K counter. The on play is add up to 1 smile type card with a cost of 5 or less from your trash to your hand. So this would be a great way to recur value from your smile type characters from your trash. But how many of those characters do we have in the game exactly? I don't think we have very many. So in the future, if there's ever any good smile cards that can be mixed with this character in the black card pool, this card could be incredible. 3-cost 4K, 1K counter that grabs cards from your trash. Yeah, a lot of utility there. Okay, next up we have another... okay, this one's Korobu, and I think the other one was Caribou. Yeah, this one's Caribou, and this one's Korobu. Okay, so this is a 3-cost, 5,000 power, 1K counter, Caribou Pirates. The on-play effect is trash 1 card from your hand. Okay, so again, this is something we'd probably want to play maybe in like Blackbeard. Otherwise, we're hurting ourselves. But the activate main is you may trash this character and play up to 1 Caribou with a cost of 4 or less from your trash. So you're going to be able to activate main, trash this character, and pull out a 4-cost or lower Caribou card from your trash not too bad, because maybe you can play this out on curve as a 3-cost 5K, and it has a 1K counter. So this is a vanilla stat card with a downside, but then an activate main to make up for it. So you could play this out on curve as a 3-cost 5K. Next turn, swinging for 5. Then you may trash this character with the activate main and play out another card from your trash. And it does not come into play rested. It just says play up to 1 Caribou with a cost of 4 or less from your trash. Not bad. Not too bad, but a little bit, could be a little bit gimmicky. We'll have to see what happens. Next up is Miss Sarah Hebe. Miss Sarah Hebe, who knows how to say that. 5 cost, 6,000 power, 2K counter. Animal Kingdom and Smile. It's a 5 cost, 6,000 power, 2K counter vanilla with the type Animal Kingdom and Smile. Not a huge fan of that one. Not a big fan of this 2K counter here, or the types on it. The picture looks good, but the actual types are not incredible. Next up is Shu. This is a 4-cost, 5,000 power, 1K counter Navy blocker. It has once per turn. This effect can be activated when your opponent's character attacks. If that character has the slash attribute, this character gains plus 5,000 power during this battle. So I'll tell you what, man, if they go to attack in with a slash character, we're going to be able to very easily deal with that. Anything under 10,000, honestly. That's very, very strong against slash characters. Very, very interesting. Again, messing around with attributes. You can tell Bandai is trying to experiment more and more with attribute stuff. And this is a cool pathway for that. This is a cool idea here with that, trying to take advantage of that. Next up is Black Maria. This is just a 5-cost, 7,000 power, 1K counter, vanilla Animal Kingdom Pirates. Nothing to talk about there. Next up is Briscola. This is a 2-cost, 2,000 power, 1K counter, Animal Kingdom Pirates Smile type character with blocker. I will often call this a 2-cost, 2,000 power, 1K counter vanilla blocker, because you will see this across all types. 2-cost, 2K power, 1K counter blocker. You'll see that across most types, across all colors. Next up is Berry Good. Berry Good is a 4-cost, 5,000 power, 2K counter Navy character. On play, your opponent places 3 events from their trash at the bottom of their deck in any order. This is obviously meant to deal with a deck like Nami, self-mill Nami. I think this is a good idea here to have. It's a great utility 2K counter. Navy now has some of the best 2K counters in the game to deal with Nami, and that is the 4-cost Gion and now the 4-cost Berry Good. Putting 3 cards to the bottom of their deck seems pretty good to me. Not bad. Next up is Helmeppo. We got a 6-cost, 7,000 power Navy slash sword character here, Helmeppo. The effect is, on play, you may trash 1 card from your hand, and then draw 1 card, and then play up to 1 sword-type character card with a cost of 8 or less other than Helmeppo from your trash. Then, place the 1 character played by this effect at the bottom of the owner's deck at the end of this turn. So, okay, there's a combo you're going to run here where you basically play this out for 6, and then you're going to trash the 8-cost Kobe, which we're not at yet. We'll look at that in just a moment. You play out this 8-cost Kobe from your trash with this effect, and you can trash it with the effect, draw a card, and then play the card you just trashed, the 8-cost Kobe in this example, play him out, and now that character, then place the 1 character at the end of the turn. That 8-cost character will go to the bottom of the deck at the end of the turn. But that 8-cost Kobe you're going to see is very powerful. Just know that this card has a lot of utility in terms of like, okay, I'm going to play out a 6-cost 7K and then fight into their board with my sword characters from my trash. Now, notice this, guys. You can only, so draw 1 card. You're going to play up to 1 sword-type character card with the cost of 8 or less other than Helmeppo from your trash. It can be any color. So red or black in this case. That's the only sword-type cards we have so far. They came out in OP11. But that's going to give us some pretty cool options there. But it cannot be Helmeppo. It cannot be Helmeppo. Good stuff there. Big fan of this art here where he's got that. It looks like a kukri for his weapon there. It's like a huge oversized kukri for his blade. Looks really cool. I like the visor and the hat. That's awesome looking. Okay, so next up we got the... Okay, this will be the alt art for it. Oh, wow. I like this a lot better because he looks a little bit more... he looks a little more agile here, we're going to call it. With the way the chin and the hand looks here, this is a very cool style. It looks very good, the way the artistic style of this, because you can see Kobe in the background as well, even though it says sample like right where his face is. This is a very specific style the artist was going for, but I think I like this one a little bit better. It's a little more clean and sleek, and there's a lot of... This is another example of a static pose, even though the hair is kind of showing some movement, of course. This is a much more active pose, a much more dynamic pose. It looks really good. Okay. Next up is Bogard. This is a 6-cost, 7,000 power, 2K counter vanilla card. So it's a 2K counter vanilla for Navy. Not bad. Nice looking picture too. I like the hat covering the eyes. Looks a little bit more menacing like that. He's drawing his blade. Yeah, he's ready to attack. Very nice. Okay, next up we got Morgan. This is a 6-cost, 8,000 power, 1K counter vanilla Navy card. Not too much to talk about here. And I also can barely make out what's going on in the picture. It looks like, I mean, we see his face front and center taking up about 80% of the piece, or maybe like 75% of the piece. But I'm not exactly sure what's going on in the foreground here. Is he catching a weapon, or is that his weapon? It's kind of hard to say. Okay, next up is Monkey D. Garp. We got an 8-cost, 8,000 power Navy character here, Garp. On play, you may place 3 Navy-type cards from your trash at the bottom of your deck in any order. Give up to 1 Rested Dawn card to one of your leaders. Then, if there is a character with a cost of 9 or more, it's referring to on the battlefield or on the field in play. KO up to one of your opponent's... Then if there is a character with a cost of 9 or more. I wonder if it's checking for your board or your opponent's. Give up to 1 rested card... Give up to 1 Rested Dawn card to one of your leaders. Then, if there is a character with a cost of 9 or more, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 7 or less. Interesting. I'll have to look into that, guys, but I'm pretty sure it's just looking for if there's a character with a cost of 9 or more on the field. It doesn't specify then if you have a character with 9 or more, you can KO 7 or less. It doesn't say that. It just says if there's a character with a cost of 9 or more. Really cool looking card here. Love the art going on. Let's look at there's got to be an alt art, right? Oh, wow. Okay, so I immediately knew this was a Kirigawa without even having to read this, at least from the style. The way they like to do these red outlines all over the place. I wish I could zoom in more in the way that I have this set up with the for this video, but I can't, guys. Bear with me. But the way this all is with the red outlining, this just looks amazing. It's a little more scratchy art. Some people don't like this style where it's a little more textured, where it has a little more texturing going on. But at the same time, I'm a huge fan of it. Now, as far as how this card is, like, let's talk about the actual card itself. On play, you're going to place 3 Navy-type cards from your trash at the bottom of your deck in any order, and you're going to be able to give up to 1 Rested Dawn card to one of your leaders. This is going to be meant for something like, you may place 3 Navy-type cards. Interesting. So this can probably work in, I'll have to check the wording on Purple Black Luffy and see what kind of Navy package we can come up with in there. That could be kind of interesting, I'm not going to lie. But I don't know the wording off the top of my head on Purple Black Luffy. If it buffs all your Straw Hat characters or if it just buffs all your characters on the field. But with the ST14 Luffy that buffs your characters, this is made exactly for that leader. So you can play this card out. You're going to return 3 Navy cards from your trash to the bottom of your deck in any order. And then you're going to give up to 1 Rested Dawn card to one of your leaders. Then, if there is a character with a cost of 9 or more, you can KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 7 or less. So you're going to be able to pop something pretty big potentially in that deck. And yeah, and then this is an 8-cost 8K. Massive character here. Seems good. Okay, next up we have Ripper. This is a 1-cost, 1,000 power, 1K counter, East Blue Navy type card. Okay, East Blue and Navy. Very nice. The effect is if you have a black Navy type character other than Ripper, this character gains blocker. Okay, so this is a 1-cost, 1,000 power, 1K counter blocker. And the condition is if you have a black Navy type character other than Ripper on the field. Not bad. Okay, now for the black events, guys. We're almost to yellow, guys. We're almost done. After all these years, I'm losing my edge. 1-cost event here for Navy. It's got Garp on the picture there for the picture. The effect is counter up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 1,000 power during this battle. So counter up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 1,000 power during this battle. Okay, the next part better be very powerful. A 1-cost 1K doesn't seem worth it. So then if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, add up to 1 black character card with a cost of 3 or less from your trash to your hand. Yeah, guys. You can only add up to 1 black character card with a cost of 3 or less from your trash to your hand. I am not a fan of this card, because say it's a 2K counter. You guys tell me if I'm missing something in the comment section below or if I misread it on accident there. I don't think I did, but think about it like this. Okay, I can pay 1. This ends up being like a 1-cost 3K in the best case scenario, unless you're going for a certain card to help you out on the next turn. I'm just not a huge fan of this. I'd rather just have a 2K counter in the spot of this, because if you're clearing out space in your deck for a 1-cost event, it has to be at least a 1-cost 2K, because then it's a 2K counter. But it would preferably be a 1-cost 3K or a 1-cost 4K, because why wouldn't I just run a 2K counter if it's just a 1-cost 2K? So you're going to typically want a 1-cost 3K or a 1-cost 4K. This can technically work like that, where it's plus 1,000 for the battle, and then you could grab a 2K counter out of your trash that costs 3 or less, and then use it, because you're still in the counter step, so you could still use it. But overall, I don't really care for this card. Okay, next up is Blue Hole. This is a 3-cost event, Navy type. The effect is main, you may trash 3 cards from the top of your deck, and then KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less. Oh, man. That's rough. Living in a world where there's Shigan Finger Pistol, or I think it might just be called Finger Pistol, in a world where we can pay 4 and trash the top 2 cards of our deck and pop a 5 or less, this card is hard to justify. And then the trigger is up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 1,000 power during this turn. That's almost like a red effect there. But whatever. I have to say, though, I am not happy with the way that this card is made. Being a 3-cost that pops a 2 or less, like, yeah, sure, it trashes 3 cards. You know, Shigan, I believe, only trashes 2. This one trashes 1 additional card, but you're going down instead of... So you would think, like, okay, if I'm paying 4 to pop a 5 with Shigan, okay, you think a 3 would at least pop a 4. But no, instead, it's a 3 is popping a 2 or less in this situation, just to mill 1 additional card, and then the trigger's much worse, in my opinion, than Shigan. I think Shigan, or Finger Pistol, I think that pops a 5 or less, just like the normal. I think it just activates the main effect. So I'm sorry, guys. This one I'm not a big fan of. Tell me if I'm missing something in the comment section below, but let's just please be respectful, guys, if I miss stuff. Okay, next up is I'm going to be a Navy officer. This is Kobe on the front on this picture, looking very intense. We have a 1-cost East Blue Navy type event here. The effect is main. Look at the 3 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to 1 Navy type card other than I'm going to be a Navy officer and add it to your hand, then trash the rest. Okay, trigger, activate this card's main effect. So we're basically going to be able to, you know, pay 1, top 3 search for a Navy card, trash the rest. It's almost like an event version of brand new. And then it has a trigger to do the main effect as well. So I don't think this is bad at all. It helps us fill up our trash and it lets us search through cards. This is just a solid searcher here. Very nice. Okay, over to Odaheim. This is a 1-cost, 0-power, 2K counter. Oh, wait. Okay, that's it for the black cards. Now we're moving on to yellow. All right, we're almost done now, guys. We're on the final color. We're on the final stretch here. So, moving into yellow now, we have a 1-cost, 0-power, 2K counter, Merfolk Fishman Island type character here, with an effect of on play, if your leader is Shirahoshi, you may turn 1 card from the top of your life cards face down, and then draw a card. So just nice utility 2K counter here to help us draw a card to replace the hand, and push the top card of our life face down, so we can cheat out more characters. Seems good, not bad at all. Okay, how are we doing on time? Okay, not too bad, not too bad. Next up here is Capone Gang Beige. I am very excited for this card. Excuse me, I have a video coming out pretty soon, probably sometime next week with Green Yellow Law. And this new card is the only support, the only extra support we really got, but I think it's all we needed as well. This is a 2-cost, 1,000 power, 1K counter blocker, Supernova Fire Tanks type. The effect is blocker, so it's a 2-cost, 1K counter blocker, already good enough, and Supernova searchable. And then once per turn, if your leader type character, if your Supernova type character other than Capone Gang Beige would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, you may add it to the top of your life cards face down instead. So if one of your Supernova type if your Supernova's type character other than Beige would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, instead you can add it to your life cards face down, add it to the top of your life cards face down. This card, saving your characters, it works well in Yellow Eustace Kid and Green Yellow Trafalgar Law. This is just an incredible addition to the Supernova package for Yellow. Loving every bit of this card. Even the art looks incredible as well with the way they did that. It almost looks like there's a filter put on it with that yellow. I don't want to say shading because it's like a little bit of a illumination. Looks really good. Like highlighting almost. Okay, and here is the alt art for it. This looks awesome as well. He's got the weapon there pointed at the person. And guys, look at this. This is incredible. Notice he's already shot this pistol here. This little like musket pistol and the smoke's coming out of the barrel. There's a hole in the screen where we are as the viewer. Like, he just blasted us, guys. He just blasted us. How cool is that? He's smoking his cigar. He just blasted someone. He just dealt with somebody. And here's a hole up here as well. He's got his bodyguards behind him. They got the glasses on, looking like Secret Service. This looks so cool. This alt art is incredible. With the pinstripe on, he's like a mafia boss. This is awesome. Okay, next up is Cammy. This is a 1-cost, 1,000 power, 2k counter, Merfolk, Fishman Island type character. The effect is your turn once per turn. This effect can be activated when your opponent activates an event or trigger. Okay, your turn once per turn. This effect can be activated when your opponent activates an event or trigger. If your opponent has 2 or more life cards, trash 1 card from the top of each of your and your opponent's life cards. So on your turn once per turn, you're going to be able to trash. If your opponent activates an event or trigger, and your opponent has 2 or more life cards, you're going to be able to trash 1 card from the top of each of your and your opponent's life cards. Guys, I feel like they're printing a lot of cards to help deal with the Nami, the blue self-mill Nami matchup, and I am glad to see that. This is looking like some pretty good support for that matchup. And it's a 2k counter, by the way, which is nice. All right, next up we have Long Jaw Neptunian. Yeah, that is a pretty long jawline, mouth line here. It looks really interesting. A little bit goofy, if I have to, if I'm being honest. But it's a 5-cost, 7k Neptunian type character with the effect of activate main. If your leader is Shirahoshi, you may rest this character and turn 1 card from the top of your life cards face down, and then KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. So remember, your leader Shirahoshi is going to turn life cards face up, and then in the within Shirahoshi, there's a bunch of cards that help turn them face down for other powerful effects. So really good stuff here with Long Jaw Neptunian. Popping a 3 or less is nothing crazy, but it's better than nothing, right? Next up we have Shirley. This is a 3-cost, 4,000 power, 1k counter blocker, Merfolk, Fishman Island type character. Shirley has an on play to you may turn 1 card from the top of your life cards face down. Remember, Shirahoshi turns them face up. Now this card will turn it back face down, and then you'll be able to look at 3 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to 1 Fishman Island type card and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the top or bottom of the deck in any order. Very good stuff there. So it's a blocker and a searcher simultaneously. It can look at 3 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to 1 Fishman Island type card and add it to your hand. And then my favorite part about this card, I mentioned this in the Shirahoshi video that I put out, then you can place the rest at the top or bottom of your deck in any order. So you can put all the cards back on top if you want, or on the bottom, and you have the blocker. You already did the search. Really solid card. And the art looks really clean on this. I really like those blues. Looks nice. Okay, next up is Charlotte Chiffon. It's a 5-cost, 6,000 power, 2k counter vanilla for Fire Tank Pirates and former Big Mom Pirates. So really good stuff here. Just a nice 5-cost, 6k, 2k counter vanilla for Fire Tank and former Big Mom Pirates. Oh, and again, that's Fire Tank Pirates in yellow. So I feel like they're almost hinting to us there's going to be a blue-yellow Fire Tank Pirates leader in the future. That would be really cool. That could be very interesting. We'll have to see what happens. All right, next up is Zeus. This is a 2-cost, 2,000 power, 2k counter, Homies, Big Mom Pirates type character. The effect is on play. You may add 1 card from the top or bottom of your life cards to your hand, and then KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. This card is excellent. It's a 2-cost card. You take a life card from the top or bottom of your life, but you're popping a 5 or less, and it's a 2k counter in hand. It's a Homies, Big Mom Pirates type card. This thing is really solid. This is a really solid card here. Great utility. Okay, next up is the alt art for it. Okay, this one looks a little more cartoony. I mean, they're both, animated, right? They're both like cartoons. Technically, they're people drew these, of course. But hear me out. This one, the style could not be more different, in my opinion. Well, actually, when I look in the background, it does have a little more fine details here. When I first looked at Zeus, I saw all the way they did the shading with like the cross hatching, and I thought this was a very different style. But they are very much different, but it's not as different as I thought. Because look, there's even a little bit of cross hatching going on here with the shading, or at least that's what it looks like. This looks really good, though. I love the way they have Nami in like this some type of old school armor. I don't know if it's like Japanese or Chinese or what, but this old school style armor that they used to have. That's what it looks like from first glance, or at a glance here. And you got Zeus following behind her. This is really cool here, and she's got her weapon there, like the bow staff, that special staff she has there. Really cool. Awesome. And love the expression on Nami's face. It really captures it. And then just Zeus is almost, it captures this one so well. as well. You know, like these hearts, you know, total infatuation, almost obsession, right? And look at Zeus in this one. His eyes are a little more droopy, looks a little more, I'm kind of more, I'm not as high sprung or anything like that, whatever the word is. I'm not as hyper or anything, but I'm looking, at Nami, and just total infatuation, totally in love with her. You love to see it. Looks really, really great art on these two, and the card itself is incredible. These alt arts will probably go for a decent amount here. You got Nami on there and Zeus, and the card is absolutely peak, very high quality, very nice. Okay, next up we have Top Knot Neptunian. This is a 5-cost, 6,000 power, 1k counter. Neptunian, of course, is the type. The effect is blocker and activate main once per turn. If your leader is Shirahoshi, you may turn one card from the top of your life cards face down and set this character as active at the end of this turn. So guys, you're going to be able to attack in, cheat out a character with your leader's effect to turn your life card face up, and then activate main, turning it back face down, and now this character will stand at the end of your turn. Very, very strong interaction with Shirahoshi. This card is excellent and works very well in what they're doing for that whole theme. Next up is Neptune. Neptune is a 5-cost, 7,000 power Merfolk Fishman Island type character. So Neptune is not a Neptunian. How interesting is that? So Neptune is not a Neptunian. He is a Merfolk and Fishman Island type, and his effect is, if your leader is Shirahoshi, you may turn one card from the top of your life cards face down, and then draw 2 cards and trash 1 card from your hand. So hear me out, guys. On a 6 Dawn turn, I've talked about this many times, especially in the Shirahoshi video. On a 6 Dawn turn, you're going to be able to cheat out one of those big 6-cost vanilla, like the vanilla 6-cost 8K. And then with the remaining 5 Dawn, so that turns your life card face up with your leader's effect to cheat it out for 1, right? Well, now with your remaining 5 Dawn, you'll play out Neptune. You'll flip the top life card back face down, and you'll do a draw 2, trash 1, and you have a 7-cost, a 5-cost 7K and a 6-cost 8K on the board. It's hard to beat that, guys. That's a pretty strong turn. Next up, we have Papag, a 1-cost, 0-power, 1k counter, Animal Fishman Island type character with the effect, on play, if you have Kami, draw 2 and trash 2 cards from your hand. So this is a 1-cost, draw 2, trash 2 cycle card, just a solid utility card. We won't spend much time on that. Very cool looking picture as well with the where he's got the glasses and everything going on there. Okay, next up we have a 3-cost, 5,000 power character called Fukabashi. Fukabashi, I think is how you say that. Hopefully I didn't just butcher that or start cussing or something. But the type is Merfolk and Fishman Island type. The effect is, if this character would be KO'd, you may rest one of your Fishman Island or you may rest one of your Fishman Island or your Shirahoshi leader instead. And then on play, you may add 1 card from the top or bottom of your life cards to your hand. So guys, this when it's in brackets like this, notice this one's in brackets. I think that's referring to a card named Fishman Island. I could be wrong. I'll try to keep that in mind as we're going through the cards. I wonder if that's the name of the stage, Fishman Island, because I do believe there's a stage we're going to go over at the end. Let's keep that in mind, though, guys. If this character would be KO'd, you may rest one of your Fishman Island or your Shirahoshi leader instead, and then so you're able to prevent KO once per turn with this, right? Actually, excuse me. You could potentially do it more than once per turn, right? Because it doesn't say once per turn. It says if this character would be KO'd, and let's say you have a Fishman Island and a Shirahoshi on the board that are not rested. Okay, well, we can rest down the Shirahoshi for the first time he tries to get KO'd, and then for the second time we can do it as well. Hang on. If this character would be KO'd, so that's by effects or in battle, this card actually seems much better. I wish I had tried this now. I read this card one time at first when I was trying to mess around with the deck list and thought, oh, that card's not very good. But if you work in the Shirahoshi, and again, I think that's the stage. We'll see in a minute. That Fishman Island might be the stage. You could save this card pretty consistently. That seems pretty good. 3 costs 5k, no counter. That's fine. Play it out on curve. This is a very solid, very aggressive card for the deck, and it is a Merfolk and Fishman Island type card. Then it has an on-play effect. You may add 1 card from the top or bottom of your life cards to your hand to KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 1 or less. So that's also going to help with the Nami matchup, popping their 1-cost Nami Searcher or the 1-cost Kaya. That seems very good, a decent utility card here. And hey, if they don't have a 1-cost on the board like a Searcher, no, and actually, hang on. That's right. Shirahoshi cannot attack, right? So the deck this character card would be in, you can't attack with your leader. So you're gonna have to play out something like Fukabashi here to just pop their 1-cost blocker real quick, or like I said against like the blue self-mill Nami, pop their Kaya or their Nami, and then you can or whatever searcher, whatever deck's running, they might be whatever deck you might be going against, pop their 1-cost searcher, and boom, you're going right through. And later in the game, you might be able to pop a blocker with this, like some of the new 1-cost blockers. Really solid card. I'm actually gonna have to revisit this card in the future. It seems really solid, and the picture looks really cool as well. All right, good stuff there. Let's keep going. Next up, we have Mambashi. Mambashi is a 6-cost, 7,000 power, 2K counter, Merfolk Fishman Island vanilla character. So it's a 6-cost, 7K, 2K counter vanilla for Merfolk and Fishman Island. Very nice. Next up is Megalo. Megalo is a 3-cost, 2,000 power, 1K counter blocker for Animal and Fishman Island type. Excuse me. And this has a opponent's turn effect. If your leader is Shirahoshi, this character gains plus 4,000 power. So this is just a nice 3-cost, 6,000 power, 1K counter blocker, to be honest, guys. But it basically can't attack, quote unquote. It can attack, but it probably won't attack. In fact, one thing I wish they had done, I actually wish, in order to help it to be able to attack a little more effectively, a little more efficiently, is I wish they had made this a 3-cost, 3,000 power 1K counter that got plus 3,000 power on your opponent's turn. It still needs to hit the 6,000 mark to get out of the 5K attack pokes, but I wish it was a 3-cost 3K so it had a little bit of a better chance, at attacking into your opponent's board and things like that if needed. But otherwise, really solid card here. Big fan of this one. Next up, we have Ryaboshi. Or Ryabashi. This is a 5-cost 7K 1K counter Merfolk Fishman Island type vanilla card. So 5-cost 7K 1K counter vanilla for Merfolk Fishman Island type. Very nice. Okay, we're on to the events, guys. We're almost done now. We're on the final stretch here. We can see the finish line from here. We got Gum Gum Fire Fist Pistol Red Hawk. This is a 1-cost Straw Hat Crew type event. It has the effect of main. You may rest 3 of your Dawn cards, so pay 4 instead of just 1 for the main. So pay 1, and then you may rest 3, so it ends up being for 4 Dawn if you and your opponent have a total of 5 or more life cards, okay? KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a base cost of 5 or less. So that's actually pretty good. I didn't like this card when I first read it, but I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it where early on in a game, I can slow down my opponent by paying 4 and popping their character, get it out of the way. Just get that thing out of here, right? However, then later in the game, if you and your opponent have 5 or less life cards, you can't pop anything anymore, but it still has value as a 3K counter, 1-cost 3K. So big fan of this. This is yet another awesome 1-cost 3K counter with a nice activate main for utility. I think the only card we don't have now, the only card that doesn't have one, red has Divine Departure, green has Elephant Gatling, blue does maybe, I think blue and black don't have one, because I think purple, yellow, I think red, purple, green, and yellow have one of these events here, but I think blue and black still need their 1-cost 3K counter utility events. Really good stuff, though. Okay, next up we have Gum Gum. Oh, okay, here's the manga-style version of it with a little bit of color added. Looks amazing. Looks absolutely incredible. Again, I'm a big fan of how they're doing this new stuff here. Okay, next up we have a Shirahoshi event called You're Just Not My Type. Okay, this is a 1-cost event. It is a Merfolk Fishman Island type event. The effect is counter if your leader is Shirahoshi, up to one of your leaders or character cards gains plus 4,000 power during this battle. A 1-cost 4,000 counter, 1-cost 4K counter seems good to me. There is no stipulation or condition for this effect other than your leader being Shirahoshi. So this would only be played in Shirahoshi, in which case it's always a 1-cost 4K. Seems good to me. And then the trigger, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less. That'll help get rid of some of the smaller stuff on the board. Very nice card. Next up, we have Merman Combat Ultramarine. This is a 6-cost Merfolk Fishman Island type event with the effect main, add up to 1 character with a cost of 6 or less to the top or bottom of the owner's life cards face up. So again, okay, hang on. Let me read that again. Main, add up to 1 character with a cost of 6 or less to the top or bottom of the owner's life cards face up. So you can push one of your cards to your life or one of your opponent's cards to their life for 6 Dawn. It has to be a 6 or less. Add up to 1 character with a cost of 6 or less to the top or bottom of the owner's life cards face up. That's a very interesting utility card there because you can push, like I said, you can gain life or you can get a character off the board you don't want to deal with and have your opponent gain life and not have to worry about it for a while. This seems pretty cool. I bet people are going to be able to make some like life burn style decks with this. Like maybe a Nell can even use something like this just to slow the opponent down even further, push a card into their life, and now the 9-cost Yamato is hitting even bigger targets. Very cool. Very cool what's going on here with this card. The trigger is add up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less to the top or bottom of the owner's life cards face up. So even the trigger could just push cards out of our way. Not bad, guys. Not too bad. Okay. And Fishman Island. I was going to say it better be that Fishman Island card. I think this is the card that was referred to, Fishman Island, with the other card. Hang on, I got to go back to. I think his name was I don't want to missay it. Yeah, Fukubashi. So the way that this one is very close to a swear word, a cuss word here in English in the United States, but we're going to try to stay away from that. But here it is, guys. This new this new stage. Oh, I didn't even look what the card did. Hang on, we got to go back to it one more time. Flipping all around. Yep. So if this character would be KO'd, you may rest one of your Fishman Island or Shirahoshi leaders instead, and this is Fishman Island. So this is the card they're referring to, and the reason we can know that is because it was in brackets. Because notice these winged brackets down here. It says, so this card, it's a 2-cost stage, Fishman Island. Fishman Island is the type, and it is the actual name of the stage. And the effect is activate main once per turn. If your leader is Shirahoshi, you may turn one card from the top of your life cards face up, and then up to one of your Neptunian, Fishman, or Merfolk type characters gains plus 1,000 power during this turn. So here's the thing. Notice with these winged brackets, that is talking about a type. Whereas these brackets are talking about a card named whatever it says, in this case, Shirahoshi. But as far as this stage goes, very solid and not bad at all. Really cool looking card here. It's like an underwater Atlantis-style city or something. I don't even know, but it looks really awesome. Big fan of this, but it's going to be about finding enough room in the deck to include this. And I think if you're going to run the Fukubashi card, I think you're definitely going to want to run this. All right, guys, that's it for all of the, from red through yellow. We are going to go through some of the SPs real quick, though. Excuse me. Now we've got the secrets. Now we got the secret arts. So first up is Monkey D. Luffy. This is an 8-cost, 8,000 power rush character with Straw Hat Crew type. And the effect is when attacking, you may trash one card from your hand and then return up to one character with a cost of 4 or less to the owner's hand. Then give up to one Rested Dawn card to your leader or one of your characters. So again, when you play this card out, 4-8, you're swinging in for 8 right away because it has Rush. You can swing right away, and then when you attack, you can trash a card from your hand and then return up to one character with a cost of 4 or less to the owner's hand, and then give up to one Rested Dawn card to your leader or one of your characters. So you can swing in for 9 with this card right away, or give Dawn to another character, or give Dawn to a leader when you do that, or you can choose not to bounce anything and don't trash any cards from hand. You can just swing for 8K and just get it over with like that. So very, very strong card here coming out for blue in OP11. I think this will be a staple secret rare in most blue decks going forward. It has a lot of utility, and it's just very powerful. Okay, and here's the alt art for it. We got very cool style. You see all the punches coming through. Like this is a big fist back here coming in, attacking in. Here's his arm attacking in, and notice how it's like. Okay, if you follow it, watch this, guys. Try to follow my mouse here. It's going to go up and then over to here and then down all the way around to here and then over to here and then all the way back. So that's really cool, and it has to do with the Katakuri fight. I don't want to say too much or spoil anything there, but that's kind of the idea of what's going on. Okay, and then next up we have the manga. Okay, we've got the manga for the secret rare, 8-cost, 8,000 power Luffy. This one looks really cool as well, but not a whole lot to talk about here. Notice him this is kind of that bouncing pose he does where he's like kind of bouncing on his toes. Really cool stuff. I love the flames extending past him. It's almost like clothing at that point. It's like aura at that point. It looks really awesome. Okay. Okay, then the other secret rare. I was saying, wait a minute, what happened to Kobe? I forgot about that one. This is the other black card I was referring to. This is another secret rare Kobe, 8-cost, 9,000 power, Navy Sword type character with an on-play up to one of your characters can also attack active characters during this turn. So when you cheat this card out with the Helmeppo we were talking about earlier, on a 6th on play, trashing this, drawing a card, and then playing this from your trash, he will be able to attack active characters the turn on which he comes into play with this on-play effect, and when he attacks, you may place 2 cards from your trash at the bottom of your deck in any order, and then up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 1,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. That is really, really strong, guys. Again, when attacking, you may place 2 cards from your trash at the bottom of your deck in any order, and then up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 1,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. So it will be, say you give it to your leader. Your leader is the best target to give it to. Now you have a 6,000 power leader. How powerful. And that's within within the black card pool here. That will probably, that effect right there will probably be strong in any black deck going forward. This might be one of those cards you fit in at the 8-cost spot. You know, who knows what happens with Gecko Mori in the future, or if we include that going forward, who knows what happens in the future. But if there is ever any room to clear up for decks that are just trying to run more aggressive and like just maybe not so focused on cost-based removal, they just want to fill out the board with strong characters. Guys, this Kobe card, notice there's no restriction here. It just says when attacking, you may place 2 cards from your trash at the bottom of your deck in any order, and then up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 1,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. And on play, up to one of your characters can also attack active characters during this turn. Well, you can always give it to Kobe himself because he enters play and then tries to resolve his on play. And now that he is in play, he can hit himself with the on play. It was a little bit confusing, but hopefully that made sense. Okay, and now let's look at the alt art for this. I'm sure there will be. Yep. How cool is that? Very drastically different style here, guys. Notice the difference in the faces here. Very, very different style. You can tell by the way that they did the... It actually has more to do with the nose, I feel like, but I don't know. Maybe it's just the way the mouth is as well. Hard to say, but these styles are very different, but they both look incredible in their own respects, right? In their own ways. Okay, now moving on to the SPs, the special revisits of alt arts. This 9-cost Shanks looks absolutely incredible. Loving every minute of this. It's like an old playing card style, and you'll notice that with more of these. Look at this, Luffy Taro as well, the 7-cost 8K. So guys, this is the 9-cost 11K. They can pop any rested character. It can KO any up to one of your opponent's rested characters. And then this is the 7-cost 8K Luffy Taro in the same playing card style, of card here. It's a 7-cost 8K. This is the one that does on play Dawn -1 to play out a 5-cost or lower purple Straw Hat Crew card from your hand. And then next up is yellow Shirahoshi here. I think they did one for each color. Shirahoshi looks amazing. It's a 2-cost, 0-power blocker with when this character is KO'd by your opponent's effect, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards. Again, just beautiful, gorgeous designs here on all of these. And there's a few more. Hang on. Next up, we got Purple Luffy here. It's a 10-cost 12K, and there's 2 of these. This is the Time Warp Luffy, right? So Dawn -10, get an extra turn, and the activate main to rest a Dawn to get an active Dawn. Look at this. This gold one. Both of these look so good, but I think I like the gold one a little bit better because that gold with purple, it's like a yellow and purple theme, it just looks gorgeous. Absolutely incredible. Then we got Sanji for blue. So that was purple. Purple got 2 technically because it's like a very special kind of style here, especially with being Gear 5, 10 cost Time Warp Luffy. Very good stuff there. So again, hang on guys, I'm hyping it up a little bit here. Green got Shanks, okay? Purple, actually, purple got 2 of them. Did red not get one? I'm thinking red didn't get one. Luffy Taro got, purple got Luffy Taro. Yellow got Shirahoshi. Purple got 2 more with the Monkey D. Luffy. Blue got Sanji. And then I think this is the final one. Stussy got the 9-cost 9K. Black got 9-cost 9K Stussy that can pop a character by trashing one of your characters. Really incredible. Oh, wait, and then there's Rayleigh. Okay, I was going to say, wait, I know there's one more. I knew there was one for each color. Here's Silver's Rayleigh, 5-cost 6K, 1K counter blocker, the one that does a draw 2, trash 1 if your opponent has 2 or more characters with a base power of 5,000 or more. Very, very cool. Again, I can't get enough of how these look like playing cards in the back, like traditional 52-card deck playing cards. They just look so good. This one might be my favorite one. Hey, anyone who follows the channel knows I love Rayleigh, and this picture looks incredible. I'm a big fan of this one as well, but I think this one's my favorite with that black and white. The pink looks great with it. Sanji as well. Sanji's looking pretty good. This is the one that cheats out a character, guys. This is the new Menace coming out. Well, excuse me, this card, it's been out since OP06, but when the new Blurple Luffy comes out with the ability to set the top cards, this card becomes a real menace with that leader effect, okay? This one looks beautiful, looks stunning, and same with all of these. The purple one with Luffy, yellow Shirahoshi, Shanks, and then we'll end it with Shirahoshi in the background. All right, guys, actually, let me make sure. Okay, yeah, that's it. So, guys, that is it. We made it through all of OP11. We went through every single color, every single card, even the SPs, all the alt arts, everything. What do you guys think about the set? Tell me down in the comment section below. How excited are you to start messing with OP11? I know we're a ways away over here in the West. I understand. But how incredible do these cards look? All right? I'm done. I'm wrapping it up there. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. I do have to put on the, hang on one second. We got to put on the outro page. There we go. Okay, let me go ahead and do the outro here. Guys, please do not forget to like and subscribe if you have not already. Thank you to everybody who supports the channel, whether you're liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, viewing, using my TCG player affiliate link, whether you're helping me through donations through or using Patreon, PayPal donations, buying the playmat, becoming a YouTube member, being a part of the community on Discord, whatever you're doing to help the channel out, I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. All right, I am done. Hope y'all enjoyed. Please do not forget to like, subscribe. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please do not hesitate to put those down in the comment section below. And until next time, guys, peace.